Monday, Monday, Monday. Nuclear facepalm is now a legal requirement to watch this stream. I'm not even joking. Robot dance. I'm a-coming, Brenda. Don't worry. I'll be there soon. Make sure you share the screen with your closest enemies. Thank you, Pat. Oh God, what dirt am I about to walk into? Oh no, my intro hasn't played. Oh no.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Hey, I'm FTFE. Welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Netflix did to blockbusters. Twice. Back in the day, when my wife and I first got together, 20 years ago, good lord, another world, YouTube didn't exist. We used to use blockbusters, but blockbusters, they send you discs, like in the post, like physical things. And, you'd have to choose your list and they'd send them along, and, we were waiting for, we were watching Battlestar Galactica. It was getting really good, really into it. And then, they don't have the right disc, so they send you the wrong thing. So, yeah, thank God for Netflix. But then Netflix killed Blockbusters twice because they then started a series called Blockbusters, which got cancelled after one season. So, hey. Anyway, hello, everybody. Welcome to another Monday night dumpster fire. For some reason, I obviously hate myself and want to go into the Flerfs server of Derp, otherwise known as 24/7 Cosmology Tartaria Discord. In fact, they've actually changed their name to Tartaria Radio. I'm not sure if they're on the radio, but hey, you know how it goes. Thank you, everyone, for being here in the chat. It is amazing to see you all. Computer, go to studio mode. Thank you. A few super chats already. Pat in the chat for $2 says, oh boy, it's Derp O'Clock. Yes, it is. Lord Illuminous Pooh, $5 says, Captain Kirk tried to start a line of female lingerie, but regrettably it failed. Shatner panties was the bad thing. Tim Tully, $5 says, be careful, Friday the 13th comes on a Monday this month. Yes, it does. Gary Bot is active in the chat, everyone, so please have fun with the Gary Bot. It's only got currently 13 responses that it does. It can vary them a little, but do have fun with the Gary Bot. It's the basic AI. I'm not very good at programming the AI, so you'll see what it's like. Anyway, let's go into the Discord server. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Brain cells at the ready.
I told you no. Let's hear about that.
Hello, everybody.
Oh no!
I grew up in a school. There were like 10 kids in my class, so I, went out with one girl from my class, and then I moved to a different school, and I actually met my wife as a high school sweetheart. So.
Oh shit! He's autistic. I get it now. Don't answer that, dog. That was trolling.
Yeah, I know it was trolling.
What did I just walk into?
There's ways that you deal with trolling. You deal with trolling by either engaging directly and sincerely, and it's sort of embarrassing for them that their troll didn't work, or you can get upset and then they win. So I'd rather do the whole sincere, give them like serious.
What a weird
answer
thing to
it.
say.
Okay,
I'm just
Clearly, where are you on the
Listen,
spectrum?
Well, what you just walked into
What
is
is
a bunch of
going in?
chaos caused by our pre-warm-up, which was called Dogs, and he's about to retire for the while.
let me respond real quick. He doesn't understand that
Just let you wear, let you wear, let you
to
wear.
hear about his happy days that he didn't have to go through all those failed relationships, and he found his sweetheart pretty much right away. Good on you, brother. I wasn't trying to do anything else. It's kind of a weird thing he said there, but go ahead.
It's very sincere.
This is not the conversation that I expect.
Well, it's kind of like the same. Dogs was our warm-up. Okay, everyone on mute for the Globers. You guys, thanks for occupying our time.
Hey Shane, where'd you get those pictures that look like me?
All right, so I've been having this. I have this Midjourney bot in Discord that I've been going crazy with, generating all sorts of crazy shit. Like every thumbnail for every event is now completely AI generated. But also, like you and I specifically, I was generating lots of pictures of mine looking super cool and you very much looking like that. What do you think?
I like it. Yeah, AI is a bit crazy, isn't it? Anyway, so hello, Tartaria Discord, or Tartaria Radio, as you are now apparently called.
Yeah. Welcome, man.
That's hilarious.
Are you on radio, or is that just a name?
Yeah, it's just a thing. I think someone changed. Smurf, I don't think. Maybe take a back seat, huh, bud?
Oh, so hey, all you flat earthers here, how's that map research going? Any luck?
No one cares.
You don't care that you don't have an accurate map to navigate the world
No.
with? Kind of something you
no.
should care about, to be fair. Is that it?
Well,
no one cares. We don't have a map, we don't care.
Since when have we had a problem navigating the Earth?
Well, you have a problem navigating it with a flat map, that's for sure, because there is
Since
no
when
flat map that is accurate.
since when is a map a sphere, man?
Yep, all maps are based on a sphere. That's kind of how they work.
That's a cool story,
Every single
man.
map that you've
Off
ever
to a
seen
brilliant
was
start,
a projection
Well,
of the globe.
They all use a spherical coordinate system for sure.
Yeah, they all use an accurate sphere with accurate land masses and distances between them. I mean, the only accurate map I've ever seen and used was a globe. It's strange. It's just, considering so many people keep telling me that the Earth is flat, that there's no flat map that shows the entire world that's accurate. You would think there would be, right?
I was thinking of the globe, actually. Kind of like, you know, if a Harlem Globetrotter was spinning a basketball on his finger. And imagine you're like a tiny little ant on that ball. If you wanted to figure out the direction that ball was spinning, you would just walk in one direction and you would eventually cover more distance over time because of the spin.
No. That's not how that works in the slightest. Why would walking over a surface that you are on be different in either way? How is it spinning in one direction going to change the distance that you walk?
You've never been to the airport and they put that conveyor belt on and then you walk on it?
The entire world is moving as well as the ant. That conveyor belt is moving a different direction to the rest of the, the airport. The entire world is moving the same way. So no matter which way you are walking, it's not going to make a difference. It's like going on that conveyor belt, walking forward or walking backwards. You're still going to cover the same amount of distance on the conveyor belt, but the entire conveyor belt is moving.
Can we stop talking about fairy tales? There is no globe, so...
Conveyor belts are definitely not fairy tales. I don't know why you would think they are.
Oh, no, I'm saying, why are you talking about the assumption of living on a spinning ball that's flying
Definitely not an
from every
assumption.
spinning void of darkness? No, let me finish.
Proven.
At the speed of 65,000 miles per hour right now.
Well, you got that wrong,
retarded is that you believe, dude? Fight it. If you don't even believe yourself in the stupidity of the spinning ball until the ball flying from every spinning... yeah, you don't believe in the globe, dude.
No, I don't have any beliefs because beliefs are a silly thing for children.
Yeah, as if you have a definite proof that a void of darkness existed that you have never been to. And the only people who have been to it have contradictory. And the only people who ever went. Can you ever let someone finish? And the only people that ever went to it have contradictory arguments about the very place they went to.
No,
oh yes, they have.
They all say the same thing.
Oh yes, they have.
No, they
dude.
haven't.
They have, dude.
No, they haven't.
So
no,
if
they haven't. You're just always just gonna say no, right? That's the only thing you can do,
I have
right?
evidence of my claims. Everyone that's been
I also have evidence of my claims, right?
You don't have any evidence of anything you say ever.
Oh, I can, I can actually just quickly tell you what they said, especially, right? So Don Pellet, for example, says, "Oh yeah, you can see all kinds of polka dots, yeah, and you see the I can't say the specific name in English, malicious clouds or whatever it's called in English. I don't know. How do you say it?
Magellan,
know, right? Magellan
you want about
clouds.
the galaxy, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then there's another guy from the ISS. He says, "It's the darkest speck you can imagine." You know.
Well, it depends on the lighting. People in the ISS are going to see very different things to people standing on the moon, aren't they?
It depends. That's the only thing you can do.
Is that what you've got?
You're a showmaker. You're a silly showmaker. Nothing more. You present it.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, so I have evidence that the Earth is a globe in rotation. You say I'm a silly showmaker. Is that it?
You're a silly showmaker.
Yeah. So again, I'm making evidence, and you just say I'm a silly showmaker. Is that all you have?
For a show. No,
is that all you have?
already presented you two contradictory claims.
Yeah, and I just think they're not contradictory. I explained them, and you didn't listen to the explanation because you don't care about the explanation.
Dude, as if someone needs to moderate.
You are in
what?
So again, people on the ISS are going to see very different things to people on the moon. Different lighting conditions, different things, different amount of lights in your eye affecting what you can see. Same as a camera with exposure levels. Depending on what you personally verify will be depending on the conditions that you are in.
So when did you personally verify that claim?
That your eyes will widen or contract based
from the
on
moon.
Light that are
No,
in them?
from the moon to the Earth, the Moon-Earth stuff. When did you physically, personally verify all those claims about
Which
that?
bit?
Not a requirement.
Which bit do you want to personally verify?
Yeah, see what the showman just did
hold
there?
on.
He
the guy asked me a question. The guy asked me a
can't
question. I'd like him to clarify which bit do you want me to verify.
Okay, so first repeat what you said about the sun and the moon. Or sorry, the
didn't
Earth
say
and
anything
the
about
moon.
the sun and the
That's
moon.
what it was. Earth and the moon. You can see the
didn't say anything
Earth
about the Earth
from
and
the moon.
either. Maybe if you listened, it would be helpful.
What he did
It's really
is
hard to listen
basically
to
what he
your
did
pedantic
is
nonsense. But listen,
yeah,
I'm
Flo.
trying to listen just for once so I can engage. Can everybody
Well, you
shut
failed
the
so far.
fuck up? Shut
Oh
the
my
fuck.
God.
You too, Craig. Shut your fucking bitch
No,
mouth.
you
I'm
failed
just
to
gonna
listen
ask you a
so far, so
question.
you're not doing a very good job, are
Oh
you?
my god, this can't happen. Why do you do this, Shane? This guy's a piece of shit.
Oh, I love you too, bitch.
Fuck this dude.
Bye.
okay again.
Okay,
What the
so
show?
listen,
What the
listen.
So I
What
explained
did you
the
say
reason
about
why
the
you have
moon
contradictory things based on your position.
Please
People
tell
in the
me.
ISS.
I'm trying to have
I
a
am talking and
conversation.
trying to
Tell me
explain to you
what
right now.
you
You want to
said
stop talking?
earlier
That'd be
about
wonderful.
the moon.
Yeah.
Well, this is going great so far, guys. We're like 4 minutes into this, huh?
Tell me what you said about the moon and the Earth.
I didn't say anything about the moon and the Earth.
Yeah, you were talking about seeing something. Oh, from the ISS. There you go. Was it moon and ISS?
Yeah, so
Yes,
I
it
would
was.
say there are
Hey,
different
okay, we
lighting
got the
conditions
bullshit
on the moon. There we
Okay,
go. Well
so
done. You
tell
got
me
there.
what you were
Yes.
saying about that, please. Say it, and then I'll tell you what I told you before. Go ahead.
Okay. There is different lighting conditions in the ISS as there is on the moon.
How do you know that?
Because the moon does not have the lights that are inside the ISS.
Because
How do
he
you know
told
that?
you so, man. He's the showman. He knows all the answers. Because
Hold on,
it's his
Clay.
show.
God damn
The
it,
moon
Clay.
doesn't have any lights. The ISS has lights.
How do you know that? When did you confirm that the moon has no lights? When did you go there and do that?
I bounced lasers off of it.
Oh
It's in a
my-
vacuum.
So you didn't
There's
go there.
definitely
So you've
there's
never
definitely no
checked.
lights up
So
there.
you've never checked. So you've never checked the moon physically for the claims you make.
Nice generic fallacy there.
Yes or no?
That's a nice generic fallacy there. I have bounced lasers
It's
off
a
the
yes
moon
or
to
no
confirm the
question.
distance
I
to it,
think
yeah.
your audience is listening to you struggle to answer a yes or no
No.
question.
The audience have heard this stupid line of
bad.
questioning a million times.
That's really, really too bad. You can't even be an adult and answer a yes or no question honestly.
Yeah,
It's too
again,
bad,
it
man.
doesn't matter if
You're
I've
better
been
than
there
that.
personally. That's not how
Are
science
you better
works.
than that? Can you be better than that? When did you go to
Again,
the
but
moon?
if you want to listen to me respond to you, that'd be wonderful.
When did you go
Again,
to the
it
moon?
doesn't matter if science, if I have been there personally or not. That's not how
Oh,
science works.
so you can't make a claim then, can you?
Yeah, I absolutely can make a claim based on all available evidence.
based on secondhand at best information, sir.
Based on all available evidence. And again, science doesn't care if it's secondhand or not. Please stop making the genetic fallacy.
Yeah,
and make you look like a
clearly
fool.
it doesn't matter. They can make anything up second,
But
third,
your
fifth
ignorance
hand,
of science is irrelevant to this
as long
conversation.
as at the end of the day, the accepted conclusions
Again, your
are correct.
ignorance of science does not matter to this conversation.
Man, you're not doing well at all. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Again, do you want to point out to me which part of science specifically says I have to go and check myself? Do you have that available? Could you give me the citation within science that says I have to physically go and do it myself?
If you claim to know about what's happening on the moon, you'll have to have gone there first to verify.
Could you please point out the particular part of science that
I'm
says
not
that's
asking
the case?
you. That's just how life physics
So that's
works.
just your
If you
opinion,
physically-
then?
You physically say something exists.
So
you
your
have to
opinion
physically-
goes against science, and you think you're right.
I mean, what I said stands. Are you going to
No,
go
your
to the moon, or are
opinion,
you
what
gonna
you
stop talking
said,
about it?
stands against how science works. So do you want me to
Light
do
bends-
science, or
light
do you want me to have
bounces off
opinions
the-
like you?
Lights on the ISS. Have you been to the ISS too, by the way? So he's making claims, folks, about two places he's never been.
Are you telling me there is no lights on the ISS that are,
I don't
man-made
know.
lights in
The problem
a
is
building?
making claims-
I've seen many
the
videos
problem is
inside
that
the
making
ISS,
claims
and there's
you can't
definitely
back-
lights
the
in
problem
there.
is with making
Oh my
claims-
God.
The problem is with making claims you can't back up is...
I can
All you
absolutely
have
back
is
them
a
up with all the evidence available.
Listen,
You have-
I'm not going to
you
keep
have to
dominating the
help out.
conversation. I just wanted to
You
come in and
haven't
poke
even
your son a little
started.
bit.
You brought nothing apart
Thank
from
you so
personal
much,
fragility
bud.
and
I
genetic fallacies.
appreciate
Do you
it.
have
You
anything
guys
else?
take it away.
Bye then.
Wow.
That was an
This
easy
is- I guess
distraction.
this
Well
is-
done.
This is going great so far. Everyone's nice and calm,
Easy.
chilling.
So I'd just like to point out,
Okay.
so far, the only argument that's been brought up is you didn't go to the moon yourself from personal incredulity. No one cares if I haven't been to the moon myself. That's not how science works.
We care.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
sure.
because none of you care about science. That's why. Not one of you understands how science works in the slightest.
Oh, here we go.
nice.
Oh, wow, just
We're
Adams.
stupid.
No, that wasn't
Say
an
it
ad
a
hoc.
few
That
more
was a
times.
fact.
Hey, keep saying it.
Well, guys,
Get
there's
tolerated.
everyone knows the first rule of FTFE, right? If he can trigger you, he will.
I will.
So please
See,
stop
how did they
getting
not
letting
get this?
FTFE
He's
trigger you.
just he's literally just a showman. The only thing he does is just keep inserting his
I
scripted
mean, like-
lines.
Apart
I
from
don't
all
think
the
he's
evidence I
denying
can
that, Clay.
always
He knows,
display, of
Clay,
course.
Clay,
just-
he knows he's a showman. It's
Yeah,
obvious.
Yeah, but,
he
you know,
masters
you
the
wanna
perversion.
ignore
he,
all the
he
evidence that I
mastered-
always
Can
put
I
on that
say
point.
something, man?
You
Can I
wanna
say
ignore
something?
the evidence that I give,
Can I say
and all
something?
the science that I can
Do you-
point out, and all the physics that I can
Hey.
explain to you, then that's fine. Then yeah, you want to say I'm just a showman. That's absolutely fine. But the fact is, not one of you understands science. That's not an ad hom. It is a fact. If any of you understood science or physics in the slightest, you wouldn't be flat earthers.
Can I say
So,
something?
do you have an
without
actual
being
argument to
muted?
make, though, or are you just gonna
Well,
sit here and
I'm here
rant?
waiting for flat earthers to give me evidence that the Earth is flat.
So you
Greg,
can
there's a
interrupt them?
Well, so I can discuss it. So far, there's been no evidence presented, only personal incredulity and genetic fallacies. That's it.
Did you ever answer Penguin's question about the problems with the geodynamo model from like 3 weeks ago? 4
Yeah,
weeks ago?
I
Oh,
sent
dude,
in
that was
scientific
like
papers,
over a month ago.
so in that they've actually
Over a month
managed
ago.
to model the geodynamo perfectly, and it's not an issue.
So,
Yeah, no, except
So
that the
again-
model was actually... Dude, we already went over... You're so fucking dishonest. Holy cow.
Not in
We
the
went over this,
slightest.
dude. The simulation you provided had the same fucking problems!
No, that it actually mapped it perfectly, showing how the geodynamo model exactly matches the mapping predictions. So there is no
Dude,
issues with it.
you
in
don't
the
even
slightest.
know.
They
You
managed
actually
to
didn't even look at
use
what
the
you-
model. Let me talk. They managed to use a AI learning algorithm to actually do the geodynamo model correctly, including all the magnetic fluctuations that you would expect. The paper I presented to you fixed all of the issues that you had with the geodynamo model.
No, dude, you
Yes, 100%.
Why don't you drop it? Hey, Craig, can you drop it in the chat so that everyone can
I
take
don't
a
have
look
it
at
right
what you're
now, but
talking
you can,
about?
you can go and look at I've given it to you once already. But
No, it's your bit of
mapped
evidence
it
to prove
perfectly.
geodynamo. Why don't you
It
drop it in
mapped
the
the
chat?
geodynamo 100%.
Craig,
It,
hey,
no,
dude,
no,
I'm trying to
stop.
talk
I'm
to you.
talking. I'm talking.
You are so
I'm talking.
pathetic. Dude,
I'm talking
let
right
me
now. Do
fucking
you want to
talk
calm down
to
and
you.
listen? You want to
Do you
calm
know
down?
how
Do
Discord
you want to
works?
calm down and listen? And I will
It's
talk,
his
and then you can
tactics, man.
respond. Wonderful. Right. So the paper I provided showed that there is no problems with the geodynamo at all. You can perfectly predict it, map it, and model it. You couldn't do that if there were issues with it. Now you may respond. Oh, brilliant! I'll take
Can we-
that as a concession.
can-
Wonderful, thank you.
Can we actually
left.
still go back to the two things that I mentioned, where we have two astronauts from the ISS, three actually. Okay, two of them claiming that you see all kinds of polka dots and these clouds, which I always, I really can't pronounce the name of them, and also another astronaut from the ISS saying it's the darkest black you can imagine. And then we had the showmaster, and please don't interrupt me now. We had the showmaster who has mastered the skill of the most perverted way of making himself look like as if he has something to say that has evidence. But actually, what he just did is implying that he himself somehow has the authority to explain what the
How ice
actuality
works, yes.
of the situation is from the ISS, what the astronaut is supposed to see, and why actually we have contradictory arguments, because some astronaut just doesn't see what the other does, according to Mr. Fight the Flat Earth, and he just gives some claims
I
as
explained,
if he
I
is the
explained
ultimate,
something
as
very
if
simple
you-
about how seeing
as
works.
if you
yes.
are the ultimate authority to
No, I just told you some
explain these
basic things about
You
how
are
seeing works.
pathetic,
That's it.
sir.
I just told you some very basic things about how seeing works. It's not my fault that you don't understand it.
Dude, you're doing it again, right? This perversion of, I just told you something that has
stupid.
actually nothing to say, that has no value.
I told you
and
the
now I'm just
reason
gonna
why they
pervert
might
the
see different
speech even-
things. I
I'm just
explained
gonna
it to you very
pervert-
clearly.
I'm just-
It's not
I'm
my
just gonna
fault if you are
interrupt
unable
again.
to listen,
I'm just gonna
dipshit.
interrupt again, right? Just keep on interrupting
Yeah,
me.
yeah, again,
because that
I have
makes it look
already explained
smarter,
it to
right?
you. You
That's
said
only
the same
you
thing
can-
again
You guys are
after
both
I
doing it
already
to each
explained
other,
it to
and
you.
it's like literally torture for everyone else to listen to. So one of you, please knock it off.
He doesn't
Well,
want to let
I've
me
already
finish
explained the
because
answer to him, but he's
scared.
keeping going on.
He's
So
scared that
I've
I'm
already
Good job,
explained
guys.
the answer to him,
exposing-
and he keeps
done.
asking the same thing.
I just put Clay on mute. I'm here to listen to Craig.
He's just scared that I'm exposing.
Again, Clay,
his
I've already answered your question. Why are you asking the same thing
doing
again?
See, this is the perversion of your
I
tactics.
have answered
right?
your question.
Always,
Why are you
what
asking the
always
same
do
thing
is-
again?
This is what you're doing. You just
I-
keep on
I have
interrupting,
answered
and
your
you're
question.
not let someone, and you're not
I
let
have
someone
answered
speak,
your question,
right?
Clay. Clay, I've answered
And
your
you're
question.
not
Listen to
let
the
someone-
words, Clay. Clay,
You-
listen to Clay. Shh, and listen
No,
to the words
listen
coming
to
out.
me,
Clay,
one.
shh,
Listen
Clay,
to me, but
Clay,
you
no,
can't
Clay,
do this
stop.
because you're incapable of
Clay,
doing so.
Clay,
No, listen to me. Listen to me, okay?
Clay, shh,
No,
Clay,
no,
Clay, be quiet.
no,
Good
I
boy.
don't.
Good-
I'm
Clay,
not gonna
shh,
play your
Clay,
stupid games.
you be quiet.
Oh my
I have
God.
already
I'm not
answered your
gonna
question.
play-
Why are you
I'm not
asking the
gonna
same
play
thing
your
again?
stupid games. Let me
No,
me
Clay,
at
I've already
least
answered your
talk
question.
for
Stop
20
asking the same thing
seconds.
over and over.
I'm not gonna play your stupid games.
I
Let
don't
me
care what
get
games
out
you're on
what I
about,
want to
Clay. I've
get
answered
out,
your
then I'm
question.
finished,
Why are you
okay?
asking
I'm
the same
finished
thing
with
over
you
and
if I
over?
can.
Clay, say
Can you
something,
s-
please.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. But he's gonna probably interrupt me
Just-
again,
Yeah, if you say
right?
the same thing, I will interrupt you.
So-
Yes.
So what he did is he is basically inserting his own belief of what
No,
he
no
might
beliefs.
think.
I've explained this to you
what
once already.
he might think is the case.
Yeah, I have
even
told you how
though-
seeing works.
even
That's just how
though-
it is.
Even though he is not really, talking about the point that we have three people, two of which, okay, have been at the same place, having contradictory arguments when it comes to something as observing the stars, okay? The one lines up with the moon landings, which is a total darkness, and they couldn't actually see, either from the lunar surface or orbiting the moon, see any stars. And the other one is Don Pettit, and the other guy, I don't know, with his big nose, saying, oh, you can see all the polka dots, and oh, you can see all the malicious clouds, or whatever they're called. Okay?
Yeah, and I
what we
answered the
have is
question
a
as to why did you not listen?
And we have as a showman giving a
Clay, did
showman
you not
answer
listen
that
to the
has
answers
no
that I gave
value
you?
at all. Yeah, your
Right, Clay.
answer is valueless,
yeah,
man.
Clay,
I don't
so
care
I've
about
given
your
you the
answer.
answer. Why are you
is
asking the
stupid.
same question? I've already told you the answer.
Yeah, and the answer is stupid.
Well,
And you can't even
you
recognize
think it's
that.
stupid.
You have
That's
not
because you don't
the
understand
ability-
basic
you have-
things.
you-
That's
you-
more of a you
you-
problem.
All right,
You,
man,
you
come
don't
on.
have the ability to
Clay,
recognize
I've already
how
told you the
inconsistent
answer. Why do you keep asking the same thing over and over like a fucking moron?
Because
Guys, give me a headache.
now just we go into the insulting, right? That's the
Well, no,
only thing
you're
you can
actually
do,
being
right?
a moron right now. It's not an insult.
Yeah,
it's a factual
because you're
statement.
wrong. Because
Come on, guys.
because you're
Clay,
How am I
Clay,
wrong?
Clay,
How,
Clay,
exactly how am I
Clay,
wrong?
if you don't, if you
Me
don't care
explain to you
about
how
his
seeing
answer, don't
works. Please
engage.
tell me how I'm wrong.
He's incapable of just
If
saying,
you
yeah,
don't
you're
care
right.
about his answer, don't engage.
No, let me
please.
just finish.
Yeah, if you don't want to hear what I've got to say, then
what
stop
the
saying
point is-
things.
What the point is I want
Clay,
to
I've
make
already
is
answered your
he's
question. Right.
incapable.
Clay, you're being
He's
boring now.
incapable.
Clay, shut the fuck up. You're being boring now.
Interrupting, right?
Clay, you're being
He's
boring now. I've already
incapable.
answered your question.
Can I just...
No,
Clay,
no,
I'm
you don't
sorry,
get to
I
talk
don't
anymore.
want to
You're
hear this
boring
anymore.
now.
Somebody else can engage if y'all want to.
That can go on for 10 more minutes.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
I can answer his question. Just because he doesn't like the answer doesn't mean he gets to keep asking the question.
Let's see, who else is in here?
Wait,
Not-
what about the ant on the basketball, real quick? One other thing about that. You know, it's on the Harlem Globetrotter's finger spinning, kind of like the globe is. And then he wants to measure the speed of it. And we know, like you said in the past, we measure the speed of a car's tire by the axle. And then
Right,
I
by
was
how fast the
saying,
wheel's spinning, yeah.
yeah.
And the
So
size of the
wouldn't, if you like stuck a pole in the North Pole, wouldn't that be like an axle now? Wouldn't that be turning?
Well, yeah, if you had a pole going right from the North Pole to the South Pole all the way through, it would
Why
be
does it
turning-
even have to go? Why does it even have to go all the way through? Like, just think,
Because
if it's at the North Pole,
the
the whole
axis.
thing is...
Well, if there was a pole directly on the North Pole, right, it would be in alignment with the South Pole as well. So
Yeah, no,
if
I
there
get-
was
I
one
get that,
specifically
yeah.
on the North Pole, it would be rotating once in 24 hours.
Yeah, so we should put like a little, you know, the same thing we put on a car tire, you know, like maybe a little more sensitive on that pole. And I've actually heard that you can get a more accurate reading from the outside of the tire, but we don't put a
Long.
what?
What
From
are
the
you-
outside of the tire, you will get a more accurate reading of your miles per hour than on the axle of the tire.
The size of the tire is already calculated
This is
in.
not your opportunity to chime in, bud. Sorry, thanks.
Yeah,
Fine.
so, the amount of turns of the axle is
Okay,
correlated
and then I
with
changed the size of the tire on my truck. I changed the size of the tire on my truck, and my speedometer is off. So obviously, it's
Yeah,
more
you need to get
accurate
that.
to
If you
put the.
change the size of the tire, you actually have to make sure you get that altered. Otherwise, you could be liable for not having a correctly functioning car.
Obviously, I know that, but that obviously means if I would have put the speedometer on the outside of the tire, it would have been more accurate. So you guys could just put a speedometer at the equator and tell us how fast we're spinning. Yet, according to Albert Einstein, there's nothing that
right, okay,
can measure
okay, we can
there.
stick a fiber optic gyroscope on the equator, and it shows that we're going 15 degrees per hour.
You've done that?
Not personally, but many people have.
And then you're going to say a gyroscope proves it? Why wouldn't you just use the thing that you use in a car?
Why would you use
Why
the
do you have
same
to
thing
use
you
a
use in a
gyroscope?
car with a wheel to calculate this rotation of a sphere? Because they're not the same thing.
A wheel is not like a sphere in any matter at all.
A wheel
With
is
an
definitely not
axis or
like a
an axle.
sphere. They're different things.
So it doesn't have a rotation point of
right,
axis?
There's not like a thing sitting on the axle measuring like how fast it's going. There, it will literally see how many times the axle rotates, and it will know the diameter of the tires, and it does a calculation to give you a rough estimate of your speed. That's how speedometers work in your car. There is no intrinsic way of measuring a constant velocity. You know, it has to be relative to something. But yes, we can absolutely measure the Earth's rotation in many, many, many different ways.
Well, no, the North Pole, then, if we stuck the pole in at the North Pole, we would have a spinning axle. So we could just put that mechanism right on that axle, and it would tell us, even if we're moving really slow.
You understand, it's just something that counts the turns. And if we put an axle in the North Pole, it would count one turn every day.
Yeah, so then that would give you that pole you're saying would spin once every day. It wouldn't be the sky being possible to have effect on it. So that's exactly what I'm asking.
But again, you would be spinning with that pole.
Relationship too.
Yeah. That's what I was just about to say. You're spinning with that pole. It's not like you'd stand there and look at that pole spinning in 24 hours. You are moving.
No, you're going to have
pole.
the computer do it like your car
computer?
does. We're not going to rely on human error. We're going to make sure it's like perfect because I have speed limits in my town. So if I do over the speed limit, I get in trouble. So I rely on that speedometer to be accurate. So I know that speedometer is accurate enough to put it on the pole at the North
How
Pole.
do you think
That'd be like
speedometers work?
What?
How do you think speedometers work?
My speedometer is going off of all the rotations that I'm doing and the distance I've traveled.
And so again, the axle in your car is rotating, you know, hundreds of times a minute. The axle that we would be putting on the North Pole would be rotating once every 24 hours.
So you're saying you can't, like, science can't, or like our you know, mechanics can't develop something that can detect a once a day rotation.
Yeah, gyroscopes, pendulums.
Because I feel like I could make
there's
my
lots
car.
of things. I literally just explained to you there is many ways to measure the Earth's rotation, but you can't do it in the same way you would measure the rotation of a car's axle, because there's nothing in relation to the car is a stationary thing and the axle is spinning within that, right? So you can measure the spin relative to something else, but you couldn't, like, you're on the Earth. That pole that would be spinning, you're spinning with it. So you would have to be off of the Earth, registering that that spin with something that is stationary compared to the Earth. Jesus Christ.
Why does Einstein say it's impossible to measure the spin of the Earth, or the Earth moves at all? Why did Einstein say that? There's no test he knows of that can be done that would prove the Earth is moving.
No,
Why
he
would
didn't
have
say
said
that. He said that there's no optical experiment like the Maximali experiment that would be able to
Like
detect
what
it.
I'm asking.
There's no experiment.
No, he said there's no optical experiment like the Maximali experiment. That's what he's talking about. And then he went on to explain about how you can measure the Earth's orbit around the sun.
I guess you knew the pedophile personally.
So,
what did you just say? Sorry.
Morley,
one second. What did that? 1 second, please. 1 second. What did that guy just say?
I said, I guess you knew the pedophile Einstein personally, yeah?
Yeah, Shane, could you please just boot that guy?
What? What happened?
Well, because he's just claiming that people are pedophiles with no evidence to back it up.
well,
I
he
don't think
married
that's
his
appropriate.
cousin. He married his cousin, so he's probably just.
That's
but,
irrelevant, Shane. I don't think that's appropriate for this conversation. He can. I'm happy. I don't want to kick out of Discord, but I don't want him as part of this conversation.
Please. Removed because I can't.
Well, wait.
No. I'm sorry, but that kind of talk isn't okay. I'm not okay with that kind of talk, Shane. Please, I'm asking nicely. Keep your removed from this conversation.
Let's not call anyone pedophiles then.
Okay,
yeah, Shane, I'm asking nicely. Can he please be removed from this conversation?
Shut up.
Instead of playing golf
Shane,
on the moon,
I'm serious, Shane. Can you please
remove
remove from this conversation?
Morley.
Wait, guys, I'm sorry. Can that
wait.
person?
Well,
I'm talking right now.
Talking about pedophilia. It's
Wait.
fine. Just let it go.
No,
Let's move on.
I don't want him in this conversation. End of story. Please remove him
So
from this
on the-
conversation.
On the moon,
he's
they should have
removed.
done the
He's
Michelson Morley.
Thank you.
Right?
Sorry, what did you say?
On the moon, they probably, instead of playing golf and stuff, should have done the Michelson-Morley experiment, huh?
No, because the Michelson-Morley experiment was set up to detect the relative motion of the Earth against the aether, and we know the aether isn't a thing. So.
Well, okay. Well, the title of the paper is they were definitely trying to detect the motion. So if they say
The title of the paper is the relative motion of the Earth and the aether. Yes.
Yeah. So okay, McToon. If outside of the Earth. Oh, no, I know. I hear you. Outside the Earth is on the moon. I would think we should do some experiments, but instead they just wanted to, like, play golf.
They did quite a lot of experiments on the moon, actually.
Like how far a golf ball goes?
That's a pretty good experiment. But they also
Yeah,
did lots of
it's
other
not
experiments on the moon. They didn't
It's not
just take a
proving.
golf ball.
It's not proving the orbit of the moon or the spin of the
They
moon.
didn't go there to prove the orbit of the moon. They knew the moon was orbiting. That's how they went there.
How'd they land on it if it was moving?
Because they were moving with it.
At the same exact direction and
Yes,
like
they
everything?
orbit. They
Like-
inserted into a lunar orbit, and then from the lunar orbiter sent down the landing module.
And the moon is like in lockstep with the Earth?
Yes, they are gravitationally locked. That's how this works.
Yeah, so then they shot off from the moon or from the Earth and then landed on the moon, and the moon was, spinning, and they were able to spin in the same exact direction as the moon to land on it. So
it's spinning very, very slowly. The moon orbits its own axis once every 28 days.
Yes, we know this.
Yeah, so to match that speed of rotation isn't going to be a big problem.
Yeah, I don't know if it's spinning 100%.
Well,
I
it
know
definitely is rotating
every.
around its own axis once every 28 days.
I don't know. I see the same face of it all the time.
Yeah, that's because it orbits us the same time that it orbits its own, well, rotates around its own axis. That's called tidally locking.
Man, that's crazy coincidence.
Well, no, actually, it's about 80% of the moons in our solar system do the same thing. It's a result of gravitational influences during orbits.
Well, why is our moon called moon when moon just means satellite and all their other moons?
Well, there you go. You just answered it.
Else?
That's why it's called moon, because moon means satellite.
Yeah. Okay. So the first, they discovered our moon before any of the other moons.
I'm pretty sure they would have seen our moon first. Yeah, it's a lot closer and bigger.
Why didn't they call the sun a satellite then too?
Because why didn't they call the sun a satellite? I didn't think the sun is a sun. The moon is the moon. They're not the same thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The first people, though, like, who named a moon? Isn't it interesting
Well, they've had many names throughout history.
Well?
Moon is just the English word. I'm sure it comes from, somewhere from France and then Spain with an origin in Latin or something, which was originally, from Mesopotamia or something. I have no idea. But moon
something
is
like Luna. And I love how the Spanish people call it La Luna, like they give it a female,
Yeah,
a
cool.
female.
Some
like
languages have male and female stuff. That's the thing. What does any of this have to do with anything?
Well, I don't know. I just wanted to, lighten up the conversation a little.
Well, I got a question for the Galaxy Brain.
Cool. Go ahead.
You're sitting in the car.
No, I'm not. I'm in my front room.
You're driving down the street. What's moving? You or the car?
You're moving.
Think about it before you answer it.
You are moving relative to the floor, and so is the car.
Absolutely not. You're not moving. You're sitting in the seat.
Yeah, and do you disagree that you're moving relative to the floor?
You're not moving, dude. You're sitting in the seat.
You are moving relative to the floor. Yes or no?
See, that game I don't play with the Galaxy Brains because
it's a serious question. Are you moving relative to the floor? Yes or no?
You're not moving.
Right. So when you're sitting in the car, you're not moving.
Not moving. You're not moving, bro. So you might want to go
when
check
you're in a car, guys. I want you all to hear this, right? When you're in a car, you're not moving.
You're not moving. Your person is not moving.
I'm definitely moving when I'm in a car, buddy.
Why is that funny?
I know I'm moving because when I hit that accelerator, right, I accelerate and get thrown back. And then as the car steadies and goes into a constant speed, I'll be sitting there not feeling much, but I hit a bump. Oh, what's that? A bit of acceleration. I turn a corner. Bit of acceleration. I look out the window. I see that things are moving relative to me. I am definitely moving when I am sitting in a car. So is the car, though. The car and me, the car and everything in the car are all moving relative to the floor.
Nothing moves until you make it move.
We made the car move. I'm pretty sure that was part of this thought experiment, wasn't it?
No, that was a simple question. I ask all these brilliant fucking geniuses, they think they are what's moving the car or them, and they always say the car. It just don't make no sense to me.
The car and everything in the car is moving relative to the floor. Does that confuse you?
Are you going to tell me I got to go take my meds, maybe?
I'm not saying anything. I just asked if that simple thing confuses
you. Told me that. You told me that before, but you still never answered the question. You're telling me some kind of story.
I literally just did answer the question.
I'm just telling you right now. You're not moving. You're sitting in the seat of the fucking car, and the car goes down.
Therefore, you're moving.
Stationary.
Everything in that car is moving with the car. Yes or no?
Okay. All right. You ready for this?
Yes or no? Is everything in the car moving with the car?
The only thing moving is the light coming into with your fucking left eye and projecting out your right eye. We have a gyroscope.
Did you say light coming in your left eye projecting out of your right eye? That's not how seeing works.
I know the eyes, bro. I've been places you'll never be.
But did you just say that light comes in the left eye and gets projected out the right eye? I want to be sure. Is that what you said to me?
We don't need the left eye. The left eye is the trick eye. We see totally out our right eye. Do you know anything about the eyes?
So when I was in school, I had a friend called Gregory
No, I don't
who
want to talk
didn't
about
have a
school,
right
bro.
eye, and he could still see.
No, school is off the platform. I don't.
Well, no, I'm just saying that when I was at school, I
I
had a friend called Gregory who didn't have a right eye. It was, he had a false eye, but he could still see. Please explain that to me.
You're gonna pick one in a million
You
stories.
just told me that the left eye isn't that we don't. Right, I am currently closing my right eye completely. I can still fucking see. Seriously, have you taken your meds?
You're not on. You don't. I guess you don't understand. I guess I'm phrasing it wrong.
I guess you are, because you just told me that we don't see out of our left eye.
No, we don't.
Right, my right eye is closed, but I can still see. Please explain how I can see when my right eye is closed.
I'm not having a conversation whether you can see out your eyes, man.
You just told me we don't see out of our left eye, so we are having a conversation about whether we can see out of our eyes.
I mean, I got 12 years experience, man. I got 12 years experience with eyes, brother.
12 years experience of not being able to see out of your left eye. Dude, you are on some magic mushrooms that I really want.
Are some of these people actually like put into the show?
God, Clay's
because
back.
I've never heard this person Johnny, now claiming these ridiculous things.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I'm
a
good
point.
people, dude. I'm a very smart person. Look, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. And I'm not just a new person. I got a couple of friends in here that know me well. I'm not just jumping in there trying to start anything. I'm just listening.
Why you talk like? What is this claim, man? Of like you only see with one eye. What is this, man?
Yeah, that's weird. It's a weird thing to say.
It's just ridiculous.
It's really not weird. It's not weird, bro. What I'm trying to say is,
you can literally
it is
see out of your eye right
let
now.
him finish his point. What are you trying to say?
what I'm trying to say is how the eyes work. The stuff comes in our left eye, and it projects out your right eye. This
No,
is
it
my
doesn't.
Then how does telescopic
That's
vision
so
work?
stupid, man.
Even the other flat earthers here are calling you dumb.
Telling me that.
Hey, please let him finish. I'm interested in hearing what he's got to say.
I'm sorry, I'm going to be quiet because I'm very interested in this as well.
Well, I'm not being shitty to nobody. I'm just trying to tell you, I've experimented on myself and killed myself many times. I call it jumping, and you can't understand what I'm saying. I'm just putting stuff out there. Maybe somebody will hear it and click on it. I'm not saying this is absolute. I'm saying this is how the eyes work. You could laugh at me. You could do whatever you want.
Dude, you're not really making a convincing argument, but it's cool. Maybe we'll try again some other time.
Shane, did that just happen?
Yeah, well, I don't really know who he is, but anyway, welcome, dude. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
I've got my right eye closed. How can I see?
This must be a setup, man. Like, you can't tell me that someone in here starts,
Well,
in this live stream of Fight the Flat Earth starts talking about how you only see with one eye. Like, that's stupidity, man. It must be a setup.
Weird.
Not
but like,
me.
it's no worse than him being able to trigger every single flat earther in here. You guys, come on.
Yeah, he triggered me earlier when he interrupted me for 10 seconds straight and then accused me of not letting him talk.
Yeah, why don't you finish that off with him, Penguin? You can get at him.
What was your point?
Yeah, I had to drop off
I'll give
because
you
I
10
was.
seconds to talk and then I'll respond, okay?
Well, I asked you if you could provide that link. You provided it about a month or so ago, and when I looked at it, all it was showing was that they were able to generate a simulation of the geodynamo. It didn't fix the problems. It still has all the exact same problems that are reported in that were reported by the by Gill University, or by not reported, but
it showed that there were no problems because it took the real world data and mapped the geodynamo based on that. It showed that there is no problem because it can be modeled with real world physics. And that's what the simulation showed. The simulation showed that with all real world data and everything that we have, you can map the geodynamo because there isn't a problem.
no, yeah, but see, you're not even talking about what the problems are. The actual simulation you provided was just showing that use the leap of faith that you have to take to believe in the convection currents, because those already don't make sense, because they're the outer core is above the Curie point. So how are you generating electromagnetism when you're above the Curie point? That doesn't make any sense.
It's friction. It's not like an electromagnetic reaction. It's literally friction causing static electricity.
Yeah, and that's completely theoretical. They can't prove that.
That's nothing. Again, the Curie point has nothing to do with that. It wouldn't affect it.
You're making a bunch of assumptions when you make your simulation. So I mean, it doesn't
we
really.
know that there is convection currents because we can measure the movement of stuff under the ground using seismic, analysis. Computer. Go to
I find that explanation of you're going to try and assert what's inside of something by vibrating.
Entire science of seismology that has worked on determining that for many, many years, and it's extremely accurate.
Yeah, I mean, just because they've worked on something for many, many years and are able to make measurements over many, many years, that doesn't mean anything about the nature of what's under the actual Earth.
Well, it does actually, because we can use those measurements to tell what the density of certain objects is. And
we can make assumptions
in the
about
Earth.
that.
We can figure out exactly what parts are moving, and what they will be based on how fast and how slow pressure waves can move through these things. Seismology is a science that is extremely accurate. You can literally detect pressure waves going from one side of the world to the other.
Your geodynamo simulation doesn't even it's just a simulation of the problematic geodynamo theory. The geodynamo
based
theory
on real world data, showing that it's not a problem. It's showing that based on everything that we know, based on everything we understand and the predictions that we make and the measurements that we have, this is what the simulation and the extremely advanced AI they use to do that simulation shows how the geodynamo would work, showing that it is possible and there's no problems, because it didn't just make it up. It took all the data that was given to it and then mapped out the simulation based on that. It wouldn't be able to do that if there was a problem.
Did you look at that? Did you look at the simulation?
Yeah, I read it quite extensively and actually.
It doesn't sound like you did. Why are you talking about an AI? It had nothing to do with an AI.
Well,
they used
okay, AI is the wrong word. They used learning, computer learning to actually give the simulation. It was an extremely advanced. They had to use learning algorithms to be able to actually generate that simulation. That's what I'm trying to say, which is kind of how AI work. They're all just learning tools, right? So they had to use extremely advanced learning algorithms to be able to actually do that simulation based on the data that was given, because there is so much involved.
Okay, but in any case, you can make a simulation. You can take your proposed leap of faith that already has a bunch of problems with the convection currents, as I pointed out, because we cannot prove magnetism can be generated when you're above the Curie point. So you already have to make a leap of faith there. All right, let me finish. So you already have to take a leap of faith there, and then you still have all the problems with the geodynamo. The secular variation doesn't make sense. The dipole versus monopole structure doesn't make sense. The fact that the actual rotation is different from the poles, that doesn't make any sense. And this is stuff that's.
But the simulation shows that it all does make sense. It's an open problem in mainstream consensus science right now. It's based on all of that happening, and that's the geodynamo model that's created with all of the data in the real world. With all those rotations and everything, that's what we expect to happen. And you're fundamentally wrong about the magnetism and the Curie point. That's nothing to do with how the Earth's magnetic field is created. It's through friction, static electricity, and the Curie point has nothing to do with that.
The Curie point has nothing to do with that.
No, the Curie point is all to do with magnetism, electromagnetism that can be created, which when it reaches a certain point, it can't do that. But friction and static electricity created from that, the Curie point has nothing to do with that at all.
It has everything to do with that.
No,
that's how the outer core generates. That's how your theoretical outer core.
No, again, it's not. It's
generates magnetism.
It's through friction. It's through static. It's not through electromagnetism.
Dude, cite your source, please. How are you going to ignore the Curie point?
The Curie point is nothing to do with how Earth generates its electromagnetic field. It is not through electromagnetism.
To do with it.
No, it's not. You're fundamentally misunderstanding. You're fundamentally misunderstanding how the Earth's magnetic field is created.
You're fundamentally misunderstanding what a Curie point is.
No, I'm really not.
You can't generate magnetism when you're above a Curie point. It's facts. It's just the way it works.
You can with friction and stuff.
You're making a religious leap of faith.
Sorry, so you're completely wrong. You are completely and utterly wrong. The Curie point is literally electromagnetism and magnetic flux. It is not to do with friction and static.
It's not to do with friction and static?
No, the Curry point is not.
Okay, but you can't generate magnetism from a convection current if you're that high. It's like double
Yes,
the
you
Curry
can.
point. It doesn't make any sense.
Can you cite me something that says you can't do that?
Sure, let me find it for you. I mean, I've already provided it to you like 3 times, but let me find it again.
That you can't have static electricity created when something's too hot.
The difference is permanent magnets versus electromagnetic.
Okay, so I'm going back into like some of my old stuff here. So the Earth's magnetic field is generated by the motion of molten iron. The core, the Curry point's temperature at which a material loses its permanent magnetism. In this case of iron, the temperature is approximately 770 degrees centigrade. However, the Curry point is not directly related to the generation of Earth's magnetic field. The Earth's magnetic field is generated by a process called the dynamo effect. The dynamo effect occurs when the electrically conductive fluid, such as molten iron, moves in the presence of a magnetic field. This movement generates electrical currents, which in turn generates a magnetic field. So even if the Curry point of iron is too high, the Earth's magnetic field can still be generated by the motion of the molten iron in its core, as long as there is sufficient heat and motion to generate the necessary electrical currents.
An assertion will never be proven. That requires a leap of faith. You are making it. You're taking a leap of faith to make that assertion.
There's no leaps of faith there. We can use seismology to determine what is moving underneath the ground. And
okay, so you're going to admit that the only way you're making that entire assertion based on
none of that.
seismology.
What I said is a leap of faith. That is science around how electrical fields are generated.
So you're going to make the claim about we can ignore the Curry point in the convection currents in the outer core.
I just explained to you that the Curry point is nothing to do with it. The Curry point is literally to do with when something loses its permanent magnetism.
It's simple physics. You can't generate...
Physics disagrees with you. The Curry point is nothing to do with generating an electromagnetic field.
You just
it's to do with when you lose a permanent magnetism. I just read it to you. You know, it's not my fault that you're fundamentally misunderstanding what the Curry point and its relation to magnetic fields is.
Curry point, also called Curry temperature. Temperature at which certain magnetic materials undergo a sharp change in their magnetic properties. In the case of rocks and minerals, remnant magnetism appears below the Curry point, around 570 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Below.
And the Earth's magnetic field is generated by a process called the dynamo effect, which the Curry point does not affect. The Curry point is to do when something loses its permanent magnetism.
Exactly. So how are you going to make an assertion that the convection currents in the outer core are causing a magnetic field?
Because they're electrically conductive materials moving in the presence of a magnetic
Curry
field.
Point.
Again, they don't lose their electrical field; they lose their permanent magnetism.
Okay, so we're just going in circles. Let's just leave it. Your assertion is that we can take a leap of faith and ignore the Curry point.
Measurements. I don't have leaps of faith. We have measurements.
Your assertion is that we can ignore the Curry point because
it's not relevant to the way the Earth's magnetic field is generated. So yes, we can ignore it. Correct.
Simulation.
Again, we can ignore the Curry point because it's literally nothing to do with how the Earth's magnetic field is generated. Please research what the Curry point actually does and how you can have magnetic fields with things that are moving regardless of the temperature.
So the Curry point is relevant until it's not. Is what you're saying? You can just ignore it when it comes to the
dynamo effect. Right, it doesn't change it.
I don't know, and then that's just one of the problems. There's a bunch of other problems that you're ignoring with your simulation.
It's not a problem, so it's not a problem.
What?
I just explained to you that it's not a problem, so...
I put the article for you in chat, Craig.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
Stop helping Bob.
oh, yeah, I was actually going to talk about that. One of the experiments that they used, I haven't looked at it in a while, but they used a molten sphere of magnesium, I think, or sodium. Yeah, sodium. And use that to mimic generating an electromagnetic field at temperatures above the Curry point to show it can be done. So you are fundamentally incorrect about what the Curry point actually is.
Well, like, so Penguin made observations based on data of electromagnetic field lines and stuff and observations, and then I guess that they created an AI super learning algorithmically driven model to emulate
make
what
a
it possibly
simulation.
could be in computer generation as
Yeah,
evidence. That's
sometimes
crazy.
simulations need to, have extremely powerful computers.
Well, I mean,
to
it
make
was
them.
it was so hard that you had to invent AI that had to learn from itself to invent the way to answer the question.
Sometimes you do need powerful computers
Well,
to actually do things. Yes, we aren't able to do everything just with our hands and brains, unfortunately.
It's a weird argument. I mean, I can simulate a fantasy land. I don't even understand, but the simulation that you're talking about, it doesn't correct the issues. Like that assertion
they're
is
not
utterly
issues.
absent from the actual link when you dropped it like a month or 5 weeks ago or whenever it was. It was saying is that, hey, we used a bunch of supercomputers and we made a simulation of the geodynamo.
Yeah, which worked.
Didn't solve the problems.
It did solve the problems because it worked. It solved the problems because it worked.
What?
It worked. It generated a simulation of the magnetic field of Earth based on all the data we have about Earth. And it worked.
I mean,
the simulation showed that the Earth could create the electromagnetic field that we have. There is no problems. They are solved.
In your simulation, you can
We've got a simulation that shows that it can be solved. Therefore, there's no problem.
And then you
keep saying leap of faith. There's no leap of faith. Measurements are not leaps of faith.
Why do you have to incessantly interrupt?
Because you keep saying the same things over and over when I've already responded. I'm going to interrupt you if you keep saying the same wrong things.
You're right. We're definitely going in circles.
Yeah. So, do you need maybe a bit of instruction and physics learning about the Curie point? I could take you through the maths and everything if you like.
You can take me through the maths of how the convection currents work.
I can take you through the maths of why the Curie point isn't important. I can take you through the electrodynamo process and how it's created. I can explain to you why you're so wrong about the Curie point. Would you like me to do that? I can give you some private instruction. I charge £75 an hour normally.
Dude.
I'm just saying that's what I would normally charge for my tuition. So I'm happy to give you some tuition about physics if you like.
What about the field? What about the reversals of the field polarity? Suppose reverse every 250,000 years. It's been, according to your paradigm, it's been like 800,000 years since it last shifted. So what's going on with that?
Don't know.
So it doesn't seem to work on a globe. You're okay with that?
What doesn't seem to work?
The magnetic field.
No, it works perfectly. We simulated it. Works fine.
So your dynamo effect is from the Earth's core spinning, is what you're saying?
No, it's from the convection currents in the outer core.
Okay, from
Dude,
that.
It's the most insane model. You should just look at the Wikipedia of it. You'll poop your pants over how crazy it is.
Well, yeah, it is kind of crazy.
Just because I understand physics and science, I don't get that shocked at things when I read them.
Isn't the Earth's core changing speed right now, slowing down and stopping?
No, that was a bunch of nonsense.
That was just nonsense?
Yeah, just, media taking something that science has possibly measured and putting it all out of proportion, but nothing that they said about the Earth's core slowing down loads and changing it was correct. It was, there's a bunch of videos explaining why all those reports were just nonsense. Don't listen to what the media says about science.
But do you agree that the inner core or the Earth's core and the outer shell, the mantle, are spinning at like different rates?
Yeah.
Yeah, like do you believe like Hawaii was formed because of that?
Hawaii is formed from a bunch of volcanoes.
Yeah, and because like it's spinning at different rates, they're in a perfect line or whatever.
Well, aren't they along a tectonic shelf? I'm not entirely sure.
No, the claim is because the inner core is spinning at a different rate than the mantle, that the same volcano keeps, the same lava keeps coming through the crust in the same spot.
I've never heard that claim. Hawaii is a bunch of volcanoes. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they're on a continental shelf, or at least a ridge where there's a bunch of volcanoes underwater.
Okay,
Yeah, they
that was
are.
just a test to see where the information is coming from.
Okay, none of this is like evidence against the globe or for the flat Earth. Anyone got any of that?
I mean, for me, it is. This is a big part of why I'm a flat earther.
Sorry, so what's
Yeah,
evidence
bring
for
us a
you?
piece of the core. Bring me a piece of the core.
Because the
outer core.
geodynamo, I can't take the religious leaps of faith.
There's no religious leaps of faith. You just have to actually look at the science, which you clearly haven't done. You keep saying leaps of faith, but measurements are not leaps of faith. Maybe look at maybe look at seismology
Well, what do
and
you-
what they actually do and how they measure things.
What do you call AI generated models as an explanation? Is that not a leap of faith?
Well, no, absolutely not. AI is a very helpful tool that can help us.
So, like, we
calculate
can't
things.
figure it out. Men don't know. Science doesn't know. We don't know the math. I know. Well, that's the computer, and then we'll tell it to invent a smarter
we'll feed the
computer
computer
itself,
a bunch of
so
data
it can answer the
and
problem.
see if it can give us
That's
a
easy.
simulation from that. Because computers can do things that we can't. But they only work
I've
on
never heard of
data
this
that you
problem. I
give
thought
them.
it was a very good point, Penguin.
You understand a computer is made by a human, right?
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, so anything that's made by a human, it could have mistakes.
The profundity is profound today.
So things can have mistakes. What's your
Yes. Point is, you can't take everything as face value.
point? Okay. I don't take everything at face value.
For example, when they tell
provided.
you the formula, I could tell you it's 93 million miles away. You can't take that as face value.
What formula?
The distance between the sun, they put it in a formula and they tell you 93 million miles.
Which formula?
The one you see on Google.
Look, I found photographic evidence of the Earth creating convection currents in the core, guys.
About that tells us the sun is 93 million miles away. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with that formula.
Google how what's the distance between the Earth and the sun?
Well, it'll tell me how far, but it's probably not going to tell me the formula to calculate that.
Yeah, so it tells you 93 million miles. Then Google, how did they come up with that number?
They've measured it.
How do they measure it? With tape measure?
No, well, radar is the best way.
No, it's for the formula. Google it. NASA did a formula.
No,
That's how they came
again,
up.
they literally measured it with radar. You don't need a tape measure to do all measurements. You can do measurements with radar, and especially in the near vacuum of space, they work pretty damn well. And you can measure the distance to the sun with radar. Been done.
There's no such thing as a radar measuring 93 million miles away.
Well, apart from the ones that did it, you mean? You can say there isn't, but there is. There's papers showing it, and it can be replicated. It can be replicated. So you just going there, it's not there, is just personal incredulity because it is there, and there's been experiments that have done it.
Oh, this guy's.
Hey, Craig. Hey, Craig. That's your name, right, Craig?
Yeah.
FTFE, Craig. That's your name, right?
Or God, one of the two.
Okay. Wow. Is it safe to say that no matter what anybody represents to you, if it's going against your model, you're just going to deny it, or
I don't deny I have explanations why things are wrong. There's a difference.
Well, here's what I'm saying. You have a model, and I get it. I get it. You have a model that is very, very, pinpoint accurate with all your different,
yes, it is.
explanations.
It's
Yeah, I get that.
accurate, yes.
I get that. I get that. But when there are things that aren't making sense,
like what?
Is it fair to say that you guys can just throw in this variable to make it make sense?
Give me an example.
Let's say the mathematical equation for your curvature.
That makes sense.
So for instance, once upon a time, let's go back 6 years ago, okay? When refraction wasn't an argument because
refraction's always been an argument. I don't know why you would say
no.
that.
Hold on, slow down, hold on. So back then, there was no argument of beyond a certain distance because it was mathematically calculated. But
what
once
are you on about?
these, well, hold on though.
once these certain measurements came out, like the black swan, quote unquote, once these certain measurements came out to now they don't line up with your mathematical equations. But
you
then
think
you
that-
guys just you
think that
invoke.
it's only been in the last 6 years that this argument's been going on?
It has been, yeah.
It's been a lot longer than 6 years. I mean, Samuel Rowbotham would say that you're talking nonsense because he thinks that he saw the Earth being, too far and stuff. So it's not just been 6 years. Refraction has always been something that's taken into account because when Wallace recreated Samuel Rowbotham's experiment...
No.
Wait, let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. When Wallace recreated what Samuel Rowbotham did, he actually removed the refractive variables by making his apparatus higher above the water, thus reducing the refractive index that would be there. So refraction has always been something that's been taken into account in this argument between globe and flat. I honestly have no clue what you are talking about.
Okay, so here's what I'm talking about. So when you have a certain distance, let's say mathematically at the most 4 miles out should be the curvature, something's behind it. But then we have a photo now, a video that's been taken where now we are now seeing beyond 19 miles. And that then takes away from your original argument of the 4 miles. But you just magically invoke this word called refraction to somehow...
Nothing magic about refraction. Refraction is a quantified thing.
Hold on. No, it's very magical. No. It's very magical. And I'll tell you
it's
why.
a quantified thing.
No, hold on. Just hear me out. To make something visible beyond 4 miles, to make it 19 miles, is very magical.
No, nothing magical about it. It's quantified.
Come on, man. If you want to stand by that,
it's quantified.
that's fair.
We have measured refraction. We know what causes refraction. We know what
So you're
conditions will
saying
cause what refraction.
Hold on. So you're saying refraction can burst around a curve farther than 15 miles away. You
Absolutely.
are just full of you believe in Santa Claus.
On the
you
Earth,
believe in Santa
on
Claus.
the Earth, 1 mile. On the Earth, 1 degree is 69 miles or 60 nautical miles, right? So for you to be able to see 69 miles, light only has to bend 1 degree. 19 miles. 19 miles, right? That's 19 miles. That 19 miles. That is less than 1/3 of 1 degree.
No, bullshit. You're making it sound so simple, so easy.
It's
but
very
let's think
simple.
logically.
Yeah, it is very
Let's
simple.
think logically. You are saying that this light bending is gonna pull up from behind the curvature of your obstacle of the horizon of water. You're gonna say it's gonna pull it up into our view. You guys are so
that's how it works. Yes.
You're filled with nonsense, guys. You're filled with nonsense.
We can show that refraction does that. I've shown that many times. Refraction is quantified. Just because you don't like the answer doesn't make it go away.
No. You're filled with nonsense, my guy.
Explanations. You said explanations wrong.
Just because you can say that...
Just because we can quantify and explain, yes.
Hold on. Mathematically, we should only be able to see something 4 miles away. And then all of a sudden...
If you ignore refraction, yes.
Hold on, let me finish.
Should we ignore refraction when doing measurements?
Let me finish.
Should we just answer the question? Should we ignore refraction when doing measurements? Yes or no?
You're not going to let me finish, aren't you?
It's very important to this point. Should we ignore refraction when doing measurements? Yes or no?
You're not going to... hold up, man. You can throw out that word. Matter of fact, let's call refraction pixie dust. It doesn't matter.
Refraction is something that's quantified. We know refraction exists.
No. Let's talk about it logically, bro.
We've measured refraction. You can't just ignore it.
Hey, bro, if you're seeing something 4 miles away and it's behind the curvature, ball, water, earth,
refraction does that.
God damn it, bro. You are so full of it, man. It's funny, dude. It's funny to me.
Why do you ignore refraction? Do you just deny refraction exists?
No, I know. Hey, here's the problem. Refraction is a real thing. That's real science
and it's been quantified,
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what you do is you take real science and you mix it with pseudoscience.
No, I just use the real science of refraction. I don't mix it with anything. I just use the real science of refraction.
Refraction doesn't stretch out an obstacle 15 miles beyond the bendable.
Refraction absolutely can bring something 15 miles away into view. Absolutely, 100%.
You're full of it, Bubba.
This is what the quantification of refraction has shown us can
happen.
You're full of it. Serious question for you. Serious question. Should we ignore refraction when doing measurements? Yes or no?
No, you shouldn't.
Right. So how do we take refraction into account?
Okay, there is. Okay, so when you're looking over the ocean,
Simple question.
right?
How do we take it into account?
I'm answering. If you could just shut up. When you're looking at refraction as a variable to what you're looking at, here's the problem. If mathematically you have a certain distance to where you can see 4 miles from the elevation of the person's perspective,
if you ignore refraction,
hold up. Once you stretch 4 miles to more than 19 miles, and you still stand by refraction being the reason
we've shown
why
that refraction can do that. It's been quantified.
You are full of yourself.
Again, refraction has shown that we can do that. You denying that refraction is a thing doesn't stop it going away.
No. You're wrong. You are incorporating...
You can say I'm wrong, but the science around refraction would disagree with you.
No, that's not. That's false. That's false. That's
no,
false.
It's not. All the science around refraction agrees with me and not you.
I'll tell you why it's false. I'll tell you why it's false. Because refraction is a real thing that by the way,
it's been quantified. Yeah,
it's not going to make you see something 15 miles behind a hill that you shouldn't have seen otherwise.
That's exactly what it does. You can keep denying it all you like, but that's exactly what refraction does.
Dude, here's the problem with you, man. When you come to the server, you speak absolute lies and you stick with them.
There's no lies about refraction. Refraction is something that's been quantified, and science knows all about refraction. Just because you don't believe in refraction doesn't make it go away.
I don't understand it. No.
Yeah. You don't understand refraction. That's very clear.
And anybody with half a brain will realize anybody will realize that you are invoking a magical word called refraction.
Nothing magic about refraction. It's quantified by science. You can keep calling it magic all you want. That's because you don't understand it. That is a you problem.
Do you know how long 2 miles is, my friend?
Do I know how long what is 2 miles?
2 miles. 2 miles. But now we're talking about
2 miles?
15
What about it? Yeah. How many degrees is that? How many degrees is 19 miles on Earth?
Okay, here, fuck your degrees. Here's flat Earth.
How many degrees? How many degrees on Earth is 19 miles? Answer the question.
Hey, man. Listen.
How many degrees is 19 miles on Earth? Answer the question, moron.
You can stay ignorant. That's fine. That's up to you.
I'm not the one being ignorant here. You are being ignorant of refraction.
Okay. So hold on. Let's just listen real quick. This is for the audience listening, for anybody with a half a brain. Let me tell you,
you are the one with half a brain. That is very clear.
Oh my God! Can I talk? Can you just
keep
not
talking
talk
and
for a
saying
minute?
nothing. All you're doing is going, no, I don't believe you. La 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 la. Refraction's not a thing. Blah 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 blah. That's all you're doing.
I know that I've won because you keep talking.
You haven't won. All you're doing is denying that refraction exists. Refraction is quantified. Refraction does what we say.
Can you shut up and listen? Can you shut up and listen?
No.
This is agonizingly awful to listen to. You've both given me a headache.
Okay. So to the listeners, okay, if there was somebody that was going to go over a hill, if there was somebody that's going to walk over a hill, okay, and all of a sudden on the other side of the hill they disappear because there's a physical obstruction between my eyes and their body, okay?
Yeah.
Now I can argue, I can agree with you that if the conditions were right in the air, that I might be able to see a little bit of that body that I shouldn't be seeing because of the optical illusions
Could you
that are
provide me
happening.
the maths to tell me how much?
But if you're
Can
trying
you
to
provide
tell
me the maths to tell me how much, or are you just saying things?
But if you're trying to tell me that the dude on the other side of the hill walks 15 miles away from the other side of that hill and I can still see him, then you are retarded.
Again, how many degrees is 15 miles on Earth?
Okay, so I'm going to shut up, but this guy's retarded.
How many degrees is 15 miles on Earth, dum-dum?
I'll shut up because this guy's retarded.
Dum-dum, how many degrees on Earth? 15 miles, how many degrees?
15
degrees.
Retarded.
15 miles, how many degrees,
dum-dum? Is also retarded.
Dum-dum, are you listening? How many degrees is 15 miles?
All right, terrific. That's terrific. You did well.
He didn't in the slightest.
The problem is that when you speak, you sound like this guy who has the world figured out with zero doubt That's why it's hard to believe you. Like, you think you have it figured out.
Well, I'm
man.
sorry that I've studied the world and come to some very
Doesn't matter, man. There's people in NASA
some
who
very
are above you and they don't
strong
talk like you.
conclusions. And sorry that I also have 2 degrees and understand science and physics. I apologize that I understand the world more than you do, dipshit.
You don't understand the world, though.
I clearly do.
Well, it was a silly
You
opening
think
and
you
an
do.
offhanded
You think
comment,
you do.
Farshade. Like, he kind of backwards paddled right into that one. So I don't know if you have like a general strategy or you're just gonna throw some words at him.
That's all that
Why,
I'm getting is just.
why are
words
we
being
letting
thrown
this
at
guy speak? He's a troll. He's not a flatter.
Yeah, no,
Oh, is that what
he's
you've got?
usually
Or is
pretty
it troll?
solid troll.
Or is that not
Well, no,
me?
he
Is
is.
that the
Nobody
other guy?
trolling, and I'm not a flat
No,
earther. I
this
didn't say I
guy,
was
this
a
guy
flat
right
earther.
here who's talking.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't even know who it is. Do you guys not know him?
No, nobody.
No,
really
yeah, I'm
knows.
talking
Let's
the guy
just-
you're speaking to. He's kind of a known troll around here, so there's no point engaging, really.
I apologize. I didn't mean to say that to you.
No. I'm not a fucking known troll. And I'll tell you right now, bro.
I think you are a troll.
Hold on, I'll tell you right now, dude. You come in here, and I'm not gonna argue with the fact
You are
that you
arguing.
speak your motto. I'm not gonna just hear me out. Why do you always fucking interrupt? That's like
Because
you're-
it does
you have a
this. It's
disease,
fun.
bro.
triggered
You have
and
a
he
disease.
eats it up
You have
and
a
you give it
disease,
to him
bro.
and you give it to him and you give it to him. It's
Look
crazy,
at it.
dude. That's why I was
Look
trying
at
to split you guys up, man. You just giving him, you're letting him feed on you, and he's loving it.
Yeah, you're right. FTFE is a fucking troll. I'll give you that. But listen, when you come in here and you argue your ball. I get it, bro. We cannot argue because you use the ball to prove the ball. And why you
I use
can't
science and
grasp
physics
that,
to
how
demonstrate
dumb
that
you
the
are
Earth
for
is a
doing
globe.
so. No, but bro, that's not real science. You cannot.
It's
prove
actual
the
real
ball
science. Yeah. Could you tell me what
using
real
the
science
ball.
is?
Yeah, I can tell you. A real science is something
What's the 5 steps
you
of the
can
scientific
actually-
method?
Here's real science. Here's real science, bro.
No,
Sit
wait,
back
hold
and
on, stop before you. Right, what are the 5 steps of the scientific method?
Okay, so check it out. So when you have
you don't know?
phenomenon, can you shut the fuck up, you dumbass?
What are the? All right, let's start. Step 1. What is the first step of the scientific method?
All right. You observe a phenomenon. Step 1.
Okay, what is
Am
the
I
second
wrong?
step
Yes or
of
no,
the scientific?
fucking dumbass?
That's correct. You
Yes or
make
no,
an
dumbass?
observation. So what's the second
okay.
step of the scientific method?
Okay. Hey, check it out, man. When I talk, can you shut the fuck up? Real talk.
So what's the second step of the scientific method?
Okay. So you have a phenomenon that you observe. Okay.
Yeah, that's step
now,
1. So what's the second step of the scientific method?
Now, you want to give yourself a hypothesis, a theory.
Right. Create a hypothesis from your observation. Yes. So what's the third step of the scientific method?
And then you want to set up an experiment where
Incorrect,
you can
missed a step.
observe. What? I'm sorry. What's the step I missed?
You've missed the third step.
What was that?
Make a prediction from your hypothesis.
I stand corrected. You're right. We're gonna make a prediction, okay? And then you have to be able, in your prediction, you have to be able to create experiments that's
test your
observable. Yeah, as observable, and it has to be something that you could replicate.
Nothing
and
in science
you have to
says that's the case, so that's not in the scientific method. So try again.
Oh, you're telling me that you don't have to replicate your opponent's fucking theory?
Nothing in the scientific method says that you have to replicate it. We're talking about the scientific method here.
Wait, but that's how they do the experiment and confirm it, is they replicate your experiment.
Nothing in the scientific method says that things have to be replicated. That is not part of the scientific method. An experiment is simply to test your prediction, to try and
They have to do
disprove
the
your
experiment
hypothesis.
over again, or else I could just claim that my experiment did something, and then you could never replicate it yourself.
Exactly.
But again, if we're talking about the scientific method, that is not part of the scientific method.
You're a clown. You know what? I got something for you in the chat. I'm gonna just put a clown fucking emoji
Oh,
real
is that
quick.
yeah, that's when you know you've lost the battle, when you start putting the clown emojis. Good job.
A fucking clown, bro. You're a clown, dog.
Is that what
you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, of course, the guy with the 2 degrees doesn't know what he's talking about in regards to science.
Oh,
could you point out the specific part of the scientific method that says it has to be repeatable? Could you just point out a specific part for me?
You're a clown. You're a clown.
So you've lost the argument. You just got to call me a clown.
I'm telling you right now that your theory and your hypotheses, your hypotheses, right? It has to be something that can be replicated and
no, your
proven.
hypothesis doesn't have to be something that can be replicated. You've got that completely wrong.
What? Are you kidding me, bro? Are you kidding me?
Why does your hypothesis have to be replicated? Your hypothesis is an educated guess as to why your observable phenomenon is happening.
The experiment, not the hypothesis.
Yeah, exactly. The experiment.
You didn't say experiment. You said hypothesis.
Not the hypothesis.
Experiment of your hypothesis. It has to be something
the
that's
experiment's from the
observable
prediction, not the
and
hypothesis.
replicated, bro. You
Again,
have to
the
be able to
experiment's from the
replicate it.
prediction, not the hypothesis.
God damn it.
So, could you just point out to me the specific part of the scientific method that says it has to be repeatable? Could you just point that out to me, please? A citation or anything that says that the scientific method specifically says that it has to be repeatable, because that's not part of the scientific method. I agree that in science things should be observable and repeatable, but if we're talking specifically about the scientific method, that is not part of the scientific method.
The experiment getting replicated?
Yeah, you can replicate the experiment if you want, but that is not specifically part of the scientific method. Step 5 of the scientific method is analyze your results. Okay, you see if your experiment managed to disprove your hypothesis because it didn't follow what your prediction said, right? And then you can try and do it again to see if you get any different results, but you don't have to. You analyze, and then you would go back and adjust your hypothesis or your prediction based on your results. In science, I agree that things should be repeatable and observable. But if we're talking about the scientific method, that's not part of it. And yeah, like my chat said, you could Google this in 5 seconds and find out. So everything that I say, it's not just me coming in here denying what you guys are saying. I have all the answers because I've heard everything you all say before. I've been doing this for years. So yes, I know the things you're going to say because there's never anything new, and I've already answered these questions 19 quadrillion times.
I thought you've only done like 600 some odd interviews. Don't be lying, Craig.
Well, if you take all the conversations I've had within those and then the amount of Facebook people I've spoken to. All right, I'm sorry. It's about 17 quadrillion. I do apologize.
All right, we can move on from Apocryphon. Does anyone else have anything to throw at Craig?
Don't throw things at me.
Definitely. Projectiles. Any flat earthers, I should specify. I see albino bad guy trying to chime in.
Who's albino bad guy? I like the sound of that.
Oh, no. Don't ask.
Is he a flat earther?
No.
Oh. So come on, there's a whole bunch of flat earthers in here. Some of you have got to have something for me. You know, you guys say that you're the researchers and stuff. You know, you're the ones that are really looking into the shape of the Earth. So there's got to be something new for me. Come on, guys. What you got?
I think there's no one wanting to talk to you because you're always such a pleasant person to talk to, man.
You mean correct in what I say, yes?
No, just very annoying and
at all what he said. Not even close to what he said. It's not even close to what he said. Fucking gaslight fuck. You're unpleasant to talk to. You mean correct? No, he definitely did not mean correct.
No, I am definitely correct.
What the fuck, man?
Just because you guys don't like being incorrected, it's not my fault.
That's just being retarded. It's just
it's just impossible to have a civil conversation with you, man.
It's impossible to have a civil conversation with you guys because you keep saying the same things over and over and ignoring what I say.
Everyone else is the problem, not you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Most of your things are just vain, you know, that's all.
Nothing that I talk about is vain. Everything I say is backed by evidence and science.
No other topic could someone get away with talking like that on a planet Earth or plain Earth or whatever you want to call it.
What have you got? Come on, hit me with the best flat Earth evidence that you've got. Come on.
Hey, quick question. You're living right now in a spinning, tilted, wobbling ball flying through ever expanding universe at a speed of 65,000 miles per hour. Is that
That's
right?
incorrect.
Is that is that what you believe?
No, the Earth isn't traveling at that speed.
67,000 miles per hour. I'm sorry.
No, it's not traveling at that speed. The Earth does not have a constant speed.
Oh, so it's changing. Okay, it's even better.
We have an elliptical orbit. Bits are faster, bits are slower.
Oh, that's amazing. So that's all you buy into, right? That's what you
Is it consistently changing?
You're shooting through the
elliptical
universe
orbit
right
is
now,
the same
right?
every year,
No.
hence the analemma of the sun.
Yeah, so it's not consistent in change.
You know,
What
the,
do you mean?
the,
Yeah,
matter of the fact is
the
you're
elliptical orbit of the Earth around the sun is the same every year, so it consistently changes the same amount every year. I don't know why you would say anything other than that.
Well, I say that
asked
we're
if this
unique,
was
that the Earth
constant,
is
not the rate of
firm and it
change.
doesn't move.
Sorry,
and it
there
has
was two of you talking at a
foundations.
time there. Clay, what did you say?
I say that this place is unique. It has perfectly been created for us to live upon.
Cool story, bro.
It is.
God's not a thing.
Yeah, I know you don't want to hear it, right? You don't want to hear that you're
Yeah,
unique.
I want evidence, not stories.
Stupid flat earthers telling me that I'm not in this spinning wobbling ball and they don't come from apes.
No, I
and
don't.
shooting
Just
for
I
the
don't believe in
universe.
magic sky daddies. I believe in observable evidence.
I don't want to hear that I'm unique and special and that there's.
Oh, I'm
purpose.
definitely unique and special. You know what? The fact that I exist is a result of a billion cosmic coincidences. That is fucking unique and special.
It's the result of the Most High creating you.
You get any evidence of that? Have you got a note from him that
No,
said he did it? Or are you
and
just
I will
making
not
that up
put.
because you believe it.
I don't
glad
need
I
to.
didn't
I don't
take
need to
any back.
present you evidence. It's all
Yeah, you do,
around
'cause you
you,
just made
and
a
I will
claim.
never listen.
But
and
here's
I will
the thing,
never
you're
put-
wrong because
listen,
actually you're wrong
see,
because the
that's
flying
why
spaghetti monster.
I don't want to have a conversation
Clay,
with you.
Clay, you're wrong because the flying spaghetti monster created the Earth in the
is
entire
just not
universe in just 4
possible.
days. And the
You
thing
know,
is,
that
not only
doesn't
did he create the
annoy
universe in 4
anybody,
days,
right?
but he was drinking
Your
heavily
mom
whilst
could
he
be
did
the
it.
spaghetti monster. We don't give a fuck.
You're gonna have a
Yeah,
rude
but
awakening,
he's
brother.
much better than your God. My God's way better than your God because
No,
my
I'm
God only
talking
took
about
4
your
days to
mom.
make the universe.
The problem is that
talking
you
about
don't
your
believe in a
mom, not
spaghetti
God.
Yeah.
You're
4
just
days.
saying
That's
that
all my
you're
God
God.
took to make the universe. Just 4 days.
No, that's not
And he was
actually your
drinking
God.
heavily.
That's just your dickhead excuse. It's not actually your God. It's just a dickhead.
No,
a dickhead
I'm sorry. How dare you say my God's not real?
It is.
You don't believe in your God. Don't.
How dare you say I don't
lie.
believe in my?
You don't need to lie.
Bless
you
his
do not
nuclear
need to lie.
appendages.
You do not need to lie. You could
How
just tell
dare
the
you
truth.
say that I don't have
You
a
can just
God?
go
What
with the
right do
truth.
you
The
have?
truth
I
is good
believe in
enough,
his
right?
mom.
What right do you have to say that I don't have a God? My flying
All
spaghetti
the
monster
right in
is
the
real.
world.
Yeah. See, you're
What are you
lying.
gonna do about it?
How dare you say that I don't have a flying spaghetti monster as my God?
How dare you
That's so
say I
offensive.
said?
It's absolutely ridiculous. What evidence do you have that there's no flying spaghetti monster? Come on, what proof do you
you're a
have
liar.
that there is
You're
not
a
a flying
liar.
spaghetti
You're-
monster
you're-
that
you're-
spat out the
you're
entire
wasting our
universe
time
during
with
4
lies.
days of heavy
You're a
drinking?
liar.
What evidence do
You're
you
a liar.
have?
You're wasting our
Yes.
time with lies.
Hey, this is why you
Seriously,
don't
guys,
try to
I'm
argue
serious.
God with FTFE, right? This
What
is not.
evidence
This is
do
why
you-
we don't bring it up.
Lies. Yeah, he doesn't.
What
actually
evidence
have
do you
God.
have
He
that
just
there
sits there
is
and
not a
lies.
flying spaghetti monster?
He is a liar.
I don't believe
He's
in
not
gods.
actually
I don't
making a
believe in
claim.
spaghetti. What proof do you got of this talking spaghetti creating shit?
With the fact that we're here. It was clearly
Yeah,
created. We were
well,
clearly created by a flying spaghetti
Yeah,
monster.
yeah, sure. You
Even-
prove it.
Even
Well,
the
the flying
deceived
spaghetti monster
Masons,
spat out the
even,
entire
Prove that
universe.
dumb shit.
But the thing is,
Prove that dumb
the
shit.
flying spaghetti monster, what he did was he made
Prove
the
it.
universe look a lot older than it actually is.
Why are you
Prove it.
fucking lying instead of producing actual fucking content? You're just sitting here lying about
that's his
shit.
content, man.
Don't tell me I'm lying about my God. How dare you?
Yeah, well, I know you're lying.
How
I know
dare
you're
you
lying.
tell me
I don't- I
I'm
don't
lying
understand.
about my
I'm
one
confused.
true
Is your
God?
mom
You
the
can't just
spaghetti
stick with the
monster or is
truth.
it your God? Which one?
That's it. I am telling my God how mean you're being. You
Your
will be
mom,
struck
huh?
down by his noodly appendages. How dare you ram into that? You see how stupid God is? You want to
Why
say
not?
that
I
it's
do
made
your
by a
mom.
creator? I can say it's made by a flying spaghetti monster. All right?
Yeah, but you're lying.
And
though.
both
you don't
are
actually believe in
equally
that.
valid.
You're a liar. You
No,
are a liar. Instead
But
of coming
both
with
are
the
equally
truth,
valid, are they not?
the truth,
Right.
instead of coming with actual claims that you believe to be true and then supporting
have
them, you're
beliefs.
just sitting here wasting our time lying.
Well, this
I
is
don't
how
have
he
beliefs.
sounds
I am
almost
pointing out how
all the
stupid
time.
bringing God into this conversation
you actually
is.
believe in instead of just sitting here and lying. and
Maybe
wasting
you
your
missed the
time.
entire point,
Like,
dipshit.
why would I talk? Why would I talk to you
Oh.
when I could just talk to another
I don't
liar?
think anybody cared about the point.
Yeah, so the
Yeah,
point is,
nobody cared.
you want to bring
Nobody
God into
cared
this
about it.
I don't
conversation,
think
it's
anybody cared
absolutely
about
ridiculous.
with
your
lies.
spaghetti monster
Instead of
God.
actually
Yeah,
supporting
exactly,
your point with
just like I
facts,
don't
you're
care
here
about God.
online and lying to us.
Like, I don't care about God. It doesn't matter. It's just as relevant to this conversation
doesn't.
as the
Why are
flying
you
spaghetti
bringing- so
monster.
why are you bringing it up?
I know. Why'd
why'd you bring your mom into it then?
Just because it's as relevant as God. The flying spaghetti monster is as relevant as God.
What's your mom got to do with this anyway?
Just tell your mum I'll see you later.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, in fact, tell your dad I'll see him
Right after
later.
I
He
fuck
loves
your
it.
mom. Yeah, that's funny.
And this is what's supposed to be supporting the globe side. That's
Oh no,
extremely immature.
you guys are here to
That's
explain how dumb the
extremely
flat
immature,
earthers are.
bro. That's extremely immature. You're making the globe look
if you
really
think
bad.
so, that's absolutely fine. I wasn't the one that said it first. Are you going to call him immature for doing it first, or are you just going to call me immature?
Representing the globe and whatever.
Wait, hold on. Stop 1 second.
Making it look
Stop
like
1
garbage.
second. Stop 1 second.
You're making it look like garbage.
Stop 1
bro.
second.
Why would I give you a second when
stop
you're
1
not
second.
actually saying
Stop.
anything of value?
Stop 1 second.
Why would you get a single second?
Stop. Are you
You're
going to
wasting our
talk? Are you
time.
going to talk to him about the fact that he was talking about my mum and call him immature? Or are you just going to call me immature for responding?
Bro, you're supposed to be here supporting the globe, bro. You're not supposed to be here.
No,
to
I'm here
insult
arguing with
people.
flat earthers. There's a difference.
Oh, good
And it's
night,
going
good
exactly
night.
as I
Have a
like
good
it
rest
to.
of-
You're
This is
triggered as
garbage,
fuck,
bro.
as normal.
You make the scientific community look like shit, dude.
I make the scientific community look fun.
You're acting like an embarrassment.
Yeah, of course,
Should be
because I was the one that
fucking-
came in here with the insults. So anyway, have you got anything other than
No one has to
than the
insult
high
you.
creator?
You do it to
Is that
yourself.
it? Is God your biggest argument? Is that all you have?
You were the one talking about some spaghetti monster god, not.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Oh no,
hear
I wasn't the one that
anybody
brought
else
up God
bring God
first.
into it. I don't know.
I wasn't the one that brought up God first.
Now you're projecting your proofs onto us.
I wasn't the one that brought up God first, dum.
Clay brought it up.
Yeah.
Wait, let me get this right. Craig thinks the Earth is a round globe? I thought he thought the Earth was flat.
The Earth is 100% a globe.
Iglooed. You know, that is a very good way to describe it. You hit it on the nail, bro. It's a dome and flat. You got it. You solved
I said
the whole
it's a
fucking
globe.
It's a dome and flat. You got it, man.
I said globe.
You got it.
Do you have hearing comprehension issues, or
was anybody else but this guy?
Flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah, just as real as your God.
I like that shit. I don't have a God, Craig. I will afford you no Christian qualities. There will be no peace here.
Cool.
No.
When anyone else brings up God, I can bring up the flying spaghetti monster because they're just as relevant as each other.
I don't worship a God.
Okay, I never said
If
you
there
do.
is
The
one,
other
he
guy
gave
did.
me everything I need when I was born.
Apart from a brain, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can say that because we're on the internet, guy.
I'd say it to
Yeah.
your face.
He's a coward.
I doubt it.
No, I would.
Yeah, he's a coward. You definitely don't treat anyone like
I'm not
this. in
even
real
gonna
life.
waste
I would call a stupid person a stupid person to their
Let's
face.
let's be honest, dude. You
And I
would
would
end up
treat you
with
like
no
a
teeth
fully
if you actually
capable
acted like this
physical
in
man,
public.
whether you were in a wheelchair or a motherfucking
Oh,
bed.
look at you! You're threatening violence because someone called you a nasty
I
name on
didn't
the
threaten.
internet.
I said I will treat you like every other man. Is
And
that a
how's
threat
that?
of violence?
And
Are
and
you a
how would you
moron?
treat every other man? How is
Or
that?
are
Explain
you
to me
just
how you treat them.
scared?
Explain how you would treat them.
Treat him like a man.
And how's
Just
that?
like I said.
And how's that?
How is it?
How
do you
explain to me
treat
what
men?
treating them like a man means. So let's say we
Because
meet face to
men-
face. You say something stupid, and I say, "Dude, you're
I guarantee
stupid."
you wouldn't
What's going
say
to happen?
that shit to me to my
I
face.
would. I'd call a stupid person to their face because I've done it
I
many
doubt
times.
it.
So let's just play this scenario out. Me and you are face
How
to
about
face.
first
You
you
say
come
something
here
stupid, and I call you stupid. What's going to happen?
Nothing.
Is that
Craig,
it?
come here and find out if
Oh no,
you're
no!
that
Why don't you
worried
tell
about
the
it.
internet? Tell the whole world
Yeah,
right now
but
what will
he's
happen
such a
if I
shit
call you
talker,
stupid to your
bro.
face.
You're such
Well,
a
after I
liar,
get done
bro.
slapping
Come
the
on,
shit out
dude.
of your mom, I'll
Ah,
slap the
right,
shit
there
out
we
of
go.
you.
You'd slap the shit out of me
There you
because
go,
you can't
bitch.
take someone calling you names
You want
online.
it?
So you've got to resort to being a little baby
No,
that
the
wants
truth
to fight.
is, men
We're
know
giving him
damn well
exactly
they
what he
get
wants, man.
words
You
from
ain't
their
a man.
mouth and
You're a
cause them
little
problems,
girl.
and you're just a shit talker.
Yeah,
You're just some
exactly.
shit talker on the
Just keep-
internet.
This
that
guy
has
wants to
fucking
get
voice.
right
All
in the
you
blood
do
with us.
is
He
talk
wants to
shit
get
so
in
you
blood
can
with
make
you.
money.
Is that yeah?
Yeah,
See,
hey,
what I do is I
how
teach
do
people
you-
real physics,
how do
and then
tidal
people
nodes
like
work
you
on a
be
globe?
triggered for money.
I'm glad
Craig.
I don't get vaccines and
Craig,
have
how
to
do
live
tidal
off YouTube
nodes work
money.
on a globe?
What's that? Sorry, I heard
How
someone
do
say
tidal
something.
nodes work on a globe?
How do tidal nodes work on a globe? Define a tidal node.
So
It's a
tidal
drop.
node is a point in the ocean where there's larger than normal tide, and it doesn't necessarily map onto the movement of the moon.
Oh, it's a very good question, dog. So that's the infodromic points, I think, right?
Yeah, so that's usually to do with the currents of water and the distribution of land masses and stuff. It's going to determine the direction that the water goes. But when you look at the actual vector of all the water, compared to all the other forces, the vectors all point towards the moon.
That's absolutely false.
It's completely true.
Is this a stand-up bit?
So why are there no like really high tides in the Caribbean?
Why is there no really high tides? What do you mean by really high tides?
Like the coast of South America will have like a really high tide. Like I guess is it Brazil? And then the Caribbean will have very low tides, but it should also have high tides, right?
Why should it have high tides?
Specifically,
this is a thing in mainstream science. Craig or whatever.
Are the tides the same worldwide?
As a tidal node,
No,
it's a real thing. That
Sorry,
even the mainstream.
there's more than one person talking at a time, so can we stick to the one person?
Yeah, I'm informing you while you're talking. You're the other person talking. That a tidal node is something in mainstream science. It's not a flat Earth thing.
No, I know. I didn't say it was.
Did I disprove gravitational pull of the moon being the reason for the tides?
Yeah, that is what happened. That is why the tides happen. Yeah.
Tidal nodes, bro.
Yeah.
How about on the other side of the Earth?
So again, tidal nodes are, an effect of the fact that there's topology and stuff under the water, the currents of the water due to temperature and mixing. So you're talking about where the tidal amplitude is zero, right? Meaning there's
what
no,
I'm trying to say is let
me answer the question. The nodes are a result of interaction between gravitational forces of the moon and the sun on the Earth's oceans. The position of tidal node on the globe is determined by several factors, including the positions of the moon and the sun in relation to the Earth's rotation, and the shape of the Earth's oceans and continents. The moon's gravity causes a bulge of water on the side of the Earth facing the moon, and another bulge on the opposite side of the Earth as the Earth rotates. These bulges move around the planet, causing the tides to rise and fall. As the points on Earth's surface where the two tidal bulges meet, the tidal amplitude is zero, and these points are known as tidal nodes. There are two tidal nodes on the Earth known as lunar nodes, which are located at opposite points of the equator. These nodes move slightly over time due to changes in the positions of the moon and sun. In addition to the lunar nodes, there are also solar nodes, which are the points on Earth's surface where the tidal amplitude due to the sun's gravity is zero. These nodes are located at 90-degree angles to the lunar nodes and move in a similar way. There we go.
Is this just your Monday evening
You should look
reading
up
of fiction?
infodromic points instead. That'll probably
Sorry,
guide
there
you
was
better.
two people talking at a time there, Shane. I did not hear what you said.
You should look up infodromic points because everything you said was not related to what we're talking about.
Well, what I just said was about tidal nodes, which is what he was talking about.
Yeah, just turned it off.
Tidal nodes are loosely called the infodromic points and directly control tidal amplitude, not high and low tide as you were indicating. Tidal amplitude with specific regions.
I didn't say anything about high and low tide.
Well, that's what that script was that you read.
I said high and low tide, sorry.
Again, the position of the tidal nodes on the globe is determined by several factors. The position of the moon and the sun in relation to Earth, the Earth's rotation, and the shape of the Earth's oceans and continents. Tidal nodes, there's two lunar nodes on Earth, and then there's two solar nodes on Earth, right? We're talking about the same thing, yeah?
No, there's a lot more
I think
than
you're
that.
just reading fictional stories, and we're trying.
I'm reading a scientific study on the tidal nodes.
But you're reading a fiction.
Sorry, so I'm reading a scientific study on the tidal nodes, and that's fiction. Me responding to the question that I was given with a specified answer is fiction. Lovely.
It's fictional.
You can say it's fictional all you want, but it explains the answer.
According to what you were saying, the Caribbean and
it just justifies your position, but it doesn't explain anything.
It explains it perfectly.
And even if it did explain anything, it doesn't prove anything.
Well,
nothing
explanation
is
actually.
as good
Sorry,
as whoever
seriously,
gives
there's
it.
more than one person talking at a time. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, nothing that you said actually matches like what we're talking about. Infodromic points, if you map them out, they're nothing like what you just read up mapped out. The opposing lunar points in 9 degrees. No, here's an actual map. Like from, here's what the actual tidal nodes look like. Here's what tidal amplitude is, right? This is what we're talking about.
Where are you posting that? Yeah, and okay, that's literally what I've just said. So the tidal nodes are the points where there's zero tidal amplitude, right?
No.
Well, that's what a tidal node is. So why are you calling it something different? Because that's what a tidal node is.
How are you
Many times specifically look up the word amphidromic points.
Right,
I
okay,
said
so we're not talking about
specifically
tidal
to
nodes,
look
we're
up
talking about something
amphidromic
different,
points,
right?
That's what we're talking
On it
about.
30 seconds ago is a better question.
And can you
How is
spell
that
it for
possible
me?
that you're already an expert when the first article you read on the subject ever was 30
Shane,
seconds ago?
Yeah, the first article I read debunks you. Shane, can you spell that for me?
No,
please?
the first 30 seconds ago.
Will you shut up? I'm talking to Shane.
30 seconds ago.
Shane, could you spell that for me, please?
Yeah, hold on.
He doesn't even know the spelling, and he's.
I'm dyslexic.
Right?
I'm not very
He
good at
doesn't
spelling.
even know how to fucking spell it.
Yeah, I'm dyslexic. I'm not very good at spelling. Sorry, Shane. The other guy was talking. Start again. Sorry, Shane. Start again. The other guy was going on.
Amphidromic.
Stop. Right, start now.
Amphidromic. AMP.
Yeah.
HI.
Yeah.
DRO.
Yeah.
MIC.
Amphidromic. Right, I could not hear what you were saying.
Yeah.
Right, so we're talking about amphidromic.
Look at the map of where they are, and then show me how. Amphidromic points. Look at the map of where they are scattered in any of your favorite projections, whichever you want to use, and then show me how the path of the moon causes any of that.
I'm just looking it up. That specific phrase. Okay, so again, this is something I would have to look up to have a full conversation with you. But let me see. So amphidromic tides are a type of tidal pattern that occurs in certain ocean basins around the world. They're characterized by the presence of a central point called an amphidromic point where the tide amplitude is 0. The tidal waves rotate around this point in a clockwise or counterclockwise direction. Amphidromic tides occur in regions where the tides are influenced by the Coriolis effect, which is caused by the Earth's rotation. This effect causes the direction of tidal currents to rotate as they move away from the equator, resulting in the formation of circular tidal patterns around the amphidromic point. The location of the amphidromic point is determined by the shape and size of the ocean, basin, the depth of the water, and the location of land masses that can influence the direction and speed of the tidal currents. Amphidromic tides are important for navigation and maritime activities. They can cause significant variations in water levels and currents in different parts of the ocean basin. Is that what we're talking about?
there you go. So those
based
points.
on that, it says it's the Coriolis effect and the positions underneath the of the land masses and stuff.
You started by saying that this is all caused by lunar and solar points, right? Tidal nodes, and then so show me how the map. Okay, well, show me how the map of all the amphidromic points and tidal nodes that Wikipedia will show you. That's why I got that map. Show me how the path of the moon causes that.
Again, I didn't say anything about the path of the moon.
Well, you started by saying that exactly.
No, that's when we were talking about tidal nodes, not amphidromic points.
Also called the tidal node.
Yeah, okay, so I think we need to clarify the two different things here. Right, there are tidal nodes on Earth, and there's 4 specifically. 2 lunar and 2 solar, right? Amphidromic points, nodes, are different things that are characterized by circular patterns around them. They're different to the 4 specific nodes that are caused by the influence of the sun and the moon. They're different
Shane, is
things.
this what you Yankees call whistling past the graveyard?
I've never heard that expression. It's hard for me to understand what you're talking about.
Yep, so from what I'm seeing, there's a difference between amphidromic tides and tidal nodes. They're different.
You're inserting the term amphidromic tides. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about the points. These points, which are directly responsible for tidal amplitude, you said they are spots of 0 amplitude, but around them, in cascading forms, do they push the tide? That's kind of right. So if you look at the map, do you see this map, though?
Wait, which one?
Do you see this map? So it's straight from Wikipedia, straight from the definition that you just read to us, right? Now, this is it's the loose Mercator projection, right?
Yeah, so again, what about
So when you do the sunanddate.com, you picture the path of the sun and the moon does like a sine wave across. So that's how they show you daylight patterns, right? You following?
Yeah, again, what's your point here?
Well, show me the path of the celestial body that you say is controlling all these tides. Show me how it matches up with any of this.
Well,
that's the question.
You have to take into account more than one force being applied, right? Tides in general are dictated by the position of the moon and the sun to a lesser degree. But you have to take into account the fact that there are land masses, there are currents, there are differences in temperatures, and there is other forces involved, like the Coriolis force and stuff, which can also affect the direction that water is moving. What you need to do is map out. Wait, I'm still talking. Yeah, the force is caused by the effect. So, what you need to do is map out all the forces involved. Right? All of the forces involved will show that there is an overall vector pointing towards the position of the moon.
Some of those currents go against the Coriolis effect.
Yeah,
directly against all the time, all over. It's splashing like crazy.
Yeah,
again, you have to take into account all of the forces involved.
Yeah,
not just
all of the forces.
Yeah, so that includes the the fact that there is land masses and stuff which will be influencing the direction of water.
No, I got you.
You have to take into account the fact that there is differences in temperatures that will be moving the water and currents in different ways, right? But all of this overall, when you take all of the forces involved, if you were to map out the vectors, there would still be an overall vector pointing towards the moon.
I see. So we're saying that all these factors are causing the tides, and lunar gravity is a tiny fraction of those forces, even though we can't prove or measure it, and it doesn't correlate at all.
It does correlate. That's the thing. When you map out all the vectors, you will see that there's an overall vector pointing towards the moon.
It's an overall vector of this fractal vector pattern directly controlling tidal amplitude.
If you were to do the maths and map out all of the forces involved, you would see that there is an overall vector pointing towards the moon.
Yeah,
do you understand? Overall, that's taking into account all of the movement, right? And all of the forces involved.
Where's the overall vector? You're drawing a trend line on this map.
There will still be, when you take into account the positions of everything, where it's moving, if you were to map out all of the forces involved, every single force involved, there would be one force that would be coming from the moon. That's one of the things that are affecting everything that's happening. Right?
Well, if there was
there are other things that are happening, which mean that that's not going to be, it's not going to all directly point towards the moon. Tides are influenced by the moon mostly, but there are other things that are making it happen. The most important thing is the position of the land masses and stuff, and the direction that that's going to influence the way that the water is moving. Plus, you have to take into account the things like Coriolis forces being applied, the general currents due to temperatures and stuff. It's going to create different things that look like, oh, well, that's not pointing towards the moon. But like I said, if you take all of the forces involved, you were to map out every single force, you would still find an overall vector pointing towards the moon.
There is no uniform overall vector that actually correlates any of this patternization.
Again, if you did the maths, did the maths and actually calculated from every single point,
you can mathematically derive a vector, sure, if you combine them all, but that doesn't match this math at all.
So if you combine all of the vectors involved and see what the overall is, that's the important thing. Computer, go to studio mode.
There is no overall direction of these waves in tide patterns, man. It's all over the place.
You're not listening to the words that are coming out my mouth, bud. If you take all of the forces involved from every point, the direction of the water at every point on Earth, all of the Coriolis forces, all of the forces from the shapes of the land and everything, and the force from the moon having a gravitational influence, you take that all into account, there will be an overall vector that you could determine that will be pointing towards the moon.
Have you done this?
Why does Central America have a 90-foot tidal amplitude and the western coast of Australia have 10?
Because of the other forces involved.
So not lunar gravity then, as we originally
started.
Again,
that's one of the forces involved. There are other forces involved. The overall vector of every bit of water on the world will point towards the moon.
That's ridiculous. Are you
can
sure
say
about
it's
that,
ridiculous,
Craig?
but do it and find out.
Well, I've never heard a Glober make that argument, man. Maybe you want to refine that, or think about it more. And then
you can do this. You can do it yourself. If you don't believe me, then do the maths yourself. Look into it and look at all the vectors and all of the forces involved, and find it out for yourself.
No,
making the claim.
Is the Glober telling us to look into it?
Yeah, I absolutely am.
Your argument doesn't stand. I live in Florida, and there's different tides along the whole entire coast, and we're on the same
positions of things move.
Vastly different.
The same eastern coastline.
Yeah, because the position of the forces involved change over time. That's what happens.
Well, don't forget that's following one vector line tour, as opposed according to Craig. That's one vector line down the whole coast with all different amplitudes.
You're strawmanning me there.
Are you ready for your spanking?
If you take into account all of the vectors involved, every single one, and you were to do a sum of all of them, there would be an overall vector pointing towards the moon.
Do you know what the Gulf Stream is?
What about it?
Do you know what it is?
Yes, I know what it is. What about
direction
it?
flows, exactly what it does for the Earth. What does the Gulf Stream do? Where does it come out of?
Why don't you tell us?
The Gulf Stream comes out of the Gulf of Mexico, possibly the Mississippi River flowing into the Gulf of Mexico. It goes against all of your Coriolis effects just to bring fish to your side of
No, it doesn't
the
go
world.
against the Could you provide the maths to show that it goes against the Coriolis force, or are you just saying that?
I know exactly which way
We're not
you
the one
say
who
the
has to
Earth
provide
is
the maths.
spinning.
You're the one who has to provide proof of
No,
the
he
Coriolis.
just made a claim that it goes against it.
Well, I know which way you say the Earth is spinning, so I know which way the Coriolis should be.
And so, because they are spinning in a particular direction, what does that mean would happen?
So you don't know what the Gulf Stream is?
Yeah, but again, why?
It's vital for your seafood. It's vital for your seafood
why
over
does the
there
position
where
of the
you
Gulf
live.
Stream go against the Earth's rotation? Why is that a problem? Please explain it to me.
It goes from the Gulf of Mexico to you.
And why is that a problem? Please explain it.
So you think the moon is pulling the Gulf of Mexico into water
It has an
from the Gulf of
influence
Mexico?
over all of the water on Earth. Yes.
The moon is doing
vague
that.
and nondescript influence, yes?
A measurable influence.
Well, it's not the moon, obviously, because it's not the same tide everywhere on the
But
state
the moon's
of
not in the same
Florida.
position every day, is it?
Of course the moon's not in the same position
Well, then why
every
would the
day.
tide be the same?
It would be, it's a 6-hour thing. It happens every six hours or so, correct?
Yep.
So for
and
6
it's not the
hours,
same
we
each
would
time,
have
is it?
high tide. According to what you're saying, how far away the moon is, for 6 hours, we would have high tide on the whole east coast of America.
Not necessarily, no. It depends on all the forces involved.
How far away is the moon?
250,000 miles?
And then you're saying because the
How did you
Coriolis
determine that?
effect, because the Earth is also spinning, that you'll have different tides on the whole east coast of America.
I'm saying it will have an influence on them.
And then what do you
What you guys seem to
if you
forget
had
is
to
there's
make a
more than
prediction
one
of
force
what
involved
those
in all
tides
of these
would be?
things.
What do you believe those tides would be? If you had to make a prediction, what would be the difference of high tide from Florida to New York?
What would be the difference in high tide to Florida and New York?
Yeah, like is the water going to rush to Florida before it's going to hit New York? Or because of all these different forces that you're saying, is it an exact number or no? It could be all over the place.
I don't know the exact number of every tide around the world. I apologize.
Florida to New York's about 10 to 15 feet to about, looks like, let's see, green 40 feet. So, right, so it's a color code. It's a wonderful map.
Yeah, exactly. That map shows you that what you're saying is the water would be rushing in all at the same level to the same area, and it would be a huge area. And what that map is showing is there's little
Nice
tides
gas
here on
map,
the west
like
coast
there.
of Australia versus the east coast of Australia. They're way different.
Okay, and have you mapped out the forces involved?
Well, you keep saying that it's a unifying vector of all the sum forces.
I never said a
pointing to
unifying vector. I said the overall vector would point towards a particular direction.
Towards the moon. Yes, that
it's
is your
not.
argument.
The
There is
overall-
no
But he doesn't actually know that. He's just making the claim out of
No,
his own
that
ass.
is a
Because
fact, and you can do the
you
math to
read it
find
in
out
the
yourself.
book, you did
Because
not know what a
FTFE is a
actual
fucking
title
clown.
node
That's
was
why.
Oh, there we
You
go.
guys
So
just keep
we've gone to
talking over
FTFE
each other
as a
and
clown.
yelling, and it's becoming chaos, and no one can hear anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I was clearly the one talking, and then FTFE needed to fucking butt in because he was getting exposed.
Excuse me, I didn't butt in. Someone
you're
else was
excused.
talking.
You're excused.
I didn't butt in. It was someone else, dude.
I heard you and seen you lit up. Don't lie.
Dude, it wasn't me. It was
I know
someone
you're
else.
used to lying, but try not to. I seen
It
your
wasn't
thing
me.
light up.
It was someone else
I
that
heard your
butted
face
in.
and seen you light up. Literally heard your face and light up. Don't need you to lie.
Yes,
we can lie by ourselves. We can lie
Again,
without you.
Is this
We can
all
lie
you've got?
without
Just calling me a liar and insults and that? No actual evidence that the
No,
Earth
it's
is
just
flat or
because
anything.
you literally made something up. You admitted you've never heard of
I
these
didn't
nodes
make
before
anything
today,
up.
And then now you're making up this whole vector proof. Like, yeah, well, if you add up all the vectors, they move towards the moon. But you don't actually know that.
Yeah, I
because
do.
you didn't even know about the subject fucking 30 minutes ago.
You had to Google what tidal nodes and amphitronic
Yeah,
points
you
were.
had to Google that.
Well, I had
and
to
now you're all of a sudden the
Google
expert
the
and know where the
specific
vectors
phrase
point to.
amphidromic but
You
I
know
know
the
what tidal
fucking-
nodes
you-
is,
you all
and
of a
I know
sudden
how
know
to
which
explain
way the
them,
vector's going,
and I know
but you
that
didn't
the
know about
tides on
global
Earth
subject
are
30
influenced by
minutes
the
ago.
moon,
No,
and there's
you
an
made it
oval
so
vector that will
much
point
worse,
towards the
Noah.
moon.
I know he's bad, but you can't be as bad, or it's doubly bad for everyone, right?
All right,
How
well, I'm
exactly
quiet.
do you know this?
I'm
So
quiet
that-
when I'm not saying shit. He just seems to need to pipe up whenever I'm saying something.
Yeah,
I
if
know.
you say
he
wrong
had-
things, I'm
he's
going
a
to correct you.
vampire
That's
and
how
I'm
this
a
works.
fucking crucifix.
Well, if that was the case, then FTFE, you'd never have a chance to speak.
Well,
Sorry?
you know, even in the globe model, they claim so. What you should be claiming, I think, in my opinion, if I was a glober, is the moon may have some effect on peak, high, and low tide. That's the correlation you can maybe draw, but you can't have any sort of correlation with the tidal amplitude in any specific region because it doesn't match up, and your model knows
It
it
does
matches up, and
match
they
up
have
when you
a
take into account
different.
all the other forces.
Well, see, but they have a different explanation than that, and that's what I was trying to get you to look
Who's
into
got a
before you
different
started
explanation?
arguing. Like your side in general, mainstream science, globers, like they don't say
What's
that
the
all the
mainstream
general
science
vectors.
explanation then?
Well, where did you get the all the different vectors will add up to always meet to the moon with such confidence? Where did that
Pulled
come
it out of
from?
his ass.
From
That's what I was
science papers that I've
exposing.
read.
Really?
Yeah.
On the
Wanna cite
subject
one?
you have no idea about.
On the subject of tides in
The
general,
subject
yes.
you didn't even
Do
know
you
the
wanna
name or how to
cite
spell
I
it.
know quite a lot about
Subject you
tides
did
in
not even know
general.
how to spell it. You did not even know how to spell it. What
Yeah,
letters
tides.
you
I know how to spell
cite
tides. I
one.
didn't know that
Articulate what you're
specific thing
talking
that Shane
about.
was talking about. The specific, phrase.
Yeah.
That's
You
it.
alluded to
you don't know what
scientific
the fuck you're
papers.
talking
Can you
about.
cite one?
Got it.
Not at this very second.
Okay, then perhaps you shouldn't talk about it then.
Well,
So, like,
I could get them. I just don't have it at this very second.
Yeah.
But again, that is the general
Well, how many
consensus
how
of
many
science.
seconds until you do have it?
I don't know. I'd have to
Well,
go and look.
Why don't you take those seconds and then provide?
How
a
about I do what I
citation for
want?
What you
I'll go and find it at another point. If you want to go and look for it yourself, you're welcome.
So abrasive.
How can
Hey,
I look for
Craig.
something that you know exists? And
Well, why don't you go and search for it and see if you can find it? Because it exists.
What search for the thing that you don't know what it is?
Search for the thing
How
that
can
I
search-
don't
how
currently
can I
have to
search
hand
for
at this very
something that
second.
you're talk- How can I search for
But
something
the
that you're
general
talking
consensus of science
Yeah, don't
matches
speak
with what
through
I've
me.
said.
I didn't speak through.
Well, I think I heard Napalm trying to get in, and maybe that'll be more enjoyable. Oh, sorry, Tribune.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask. Craig said all of these vectors point towards the moon. Do they point towards the moon specifically, like its geographic location in relation to the Earth, or to its phase, or both? Or do you have any clarification on
They
that?
point towards the position of the moon. So the overall vector of Earth's tides is directed towards the moon. This is because the gravitational force that the moon exerts on Earth is what causes the tides to occur in the first place. The moon's gravity creates a tidal bulge on the side of the Earth closest to the moon and a corresponding bulge on the opposite side of the Earth with a decrease in the tidal range at the points perpendicular to these bulges. This creates a stretching effect on the Earth's oceans, which result in a flow of water towards the bulges or high tide areas, and a flow of water away from the bulges or low tide areas. While the sun also exerts a gravitational force on the Earth's oceans, it's weaker than the moon's gravitational force due to its distance from the Earth. Therefore, the overall vector of the tides is primarily towards the moon with a smaller influence from the sun.
So we
This show should
understand
be
you can
renamed
your
Reading of
comprehension.
Popular
You have the ability to read. So
Yeah, I have
we
the
get that.
ability to
But
quote mainstream
my
science.
question
So
would be,
there's the answer for
so my
mainstream science
question-
for you.
Yeah, so my question would be, does this mean that the moon's relative location, so when it's overhead, would be the highest tide?
When the moon's overhead, you mean like directly above? Like if you were, if you were
Yeah.
to look up and the moon would
Yeah,
be there.
overhead, directly above, or it's
Well, it's not really
zenith,
overhead when
its
you look at
highest
the
point in
position
your
of the
sky.
moon towards the Earth. There will be a bulge pointing towards the Earth. The overall vector of all the water, all the tides on Earth, is a massive bulge that points towards the moon.
Points towards the moon. So if I was directly below the moon, or the moon was at its highest point in the evening, would that indicate that it would typically be my higher tide?
Again, you're not going to be directly below the moon. That's not how it works. If the moon
So
is
there-
in a position that is in
it's
alignment
not
with a
probable
certain
that
point,
you would be directly below
let's
the moon
say if you
ever?
were standing in the UK, right, and the UK was pointing directly towards the moon, the UK would be the thing having the high tides at that point.
Okay, can you support that with any evidence? Because I live near the water, and I know that this is not the case, and I check tide charts all the time.
Yeah.
Can you give me a specific geographic location where you can indicate that the moon's relative position indicates its highest tide?
Yeah, the moon, obviously the tides lag slightly behind the moon because of gravitational influence, but the entire bulge of water
Why
is
would it
pointed
lag
towards the moon.
behind?
Because there's like a slight delay in the time, you know?
But he has a delay.
What is the delay caused by?
Just the gravitational forces and the fact that the water has to move over time. You know, it's not like an instant thing. It's, you know, it's being pulled. So there's going to be a slight lag to the tides as it moves towards that direction.
So what is that lag time?
Different depending on the topology of you know, the area underneath the water.
So let's say you're on the east coast of Florida, so you would have very little restriction as to this water that you claim is being pulled by the moon is moving towards the coast. Would you say that if you're on a coast like the east coast of the United States,
yeah,
what would be stopping that water? What would be the lag time typically for, I don't know,
I
pick
don't know
somewhere
the
on the
exact
east
amount
coast
of lag time, I'm
North
sorry.
Carolina?
I don't have that specific information available for you. I'm sure I could find it, as I could the scientific paper, but I don't have that specific information available right now.
Hey, hold on. How about this, FTFE? How about when tides rise and the moon's not even in the sky? How do you explain that?
What do you mean not in the sky? The moon's always there somewhere.
No. Hold on.
You know when you can't see the moon, it's not because it's invisible, it's because of the phase.
No, wait. There are times. Hold up. There are times when
You're gonna say this.
Hold up. There are times.
Who unmuted him?
Why don't you let me talk, bro? Just shut up.
I'm letting you. I'm just waiting for you to say the dumb thing that you're about to say.
Okay, there are times when the moon is not in our sky. It's not in the view of a person standing on the seashore. Yet the tides they come up. They come in. So your example or falsehood that the moon is pulling on the water to make it rise. But there are times, even in your model, even in your solarium or whatever it's called, there are times when the moon is not even in the sky, but the tides still rise. Can you please try to validate that? Go ahead. I'll wait.
Yeah, you know when you can't see the moon, that's not because it's not there. It's because the phase of the moon means that there's no sunlight.
No. It's literally Hold on. It's literally not in the sky because it on its circuit, on its path, it is not in the sky at that moment.
It's called the opposite high tide. There is a high tide, diametrically opposed to each other. One on the moon side with that 45-minute tidal
that's what
lag.
I was going to get to next. I was going to explain how the tides actually happen, why there's 2 high tides and 2 low tides.
Oh my God, you guys are fucking ridiculous, bro.
Right.
I said that earlier.
Let me explain this to you very simply, okay? Right. So as the moon pulls on not just the water, but the earth and everything, right? The side closest to the moon has the strongest gravitational influence, right? So that water is going to have the strongest pull, okay? Right? So that's the strongest pull towards the moon, which means there's a bulge. Now, the Earth is the next thing in line, so it's got the next strongest gravitational influence from the moon. So the Earth actually moves slightly towards the moon as well. Less than the bulge on the right side, okay? But because the Earth has moved within that bulge of water, it leaves a high tide on the right side of it as well.
Oh my God,
and that
bro.
means that because
Listen
the
to
water
me.
is stretched on the left and the right side, the top and the bottom have a low tide.
No, bro. No. Listen to me, bro. If your story is saying
That's how it works. I don't care if you don't believe it.
If your story is saying
Not a story, it's how it works.
It's definitely a story.
It's not a story, it's how it works.
It's a falsehood. You're right.
No, it's how it works. You can put a story you want, but I'm going to keep interrupting you because it's not a story.
It's going to be fucking impossible to talk to.
Let me
He's trying
finish,
to fucking
bro.
complete a sentence, and every single time he tries to complete a sentence, you fucking interrupt him.
Yeah.
Let someone get a word in edgewise, bro.
I've already answered the question, though.
Yeah, let someone get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, I do, and I've answered the question. I'm going to interrupt him if he says something wrong.
Fuck you. Let me finish. So if your explanation
Yeah, my explanation
is that the moon goes over our heads.
Never said that.
And if I'm standing at the seashore, okay?
Yeah, I didn't say that. Why are you making stuff up?
Okay, just hear me out, okay? If I'm standing at the seashore and the moon is in the sky and the tides rise, and you say the moon is pulling on the water. Okay, okay, that's fair. That's fine. But there are times when I stand on the seashore.
I just explained to you why.
And the moon is not in the sky at all because
I just explained to you why that's the case.
Oh my God, bro! But it doesn't. Oh my God!
You guys are talking
makes zero sense, bro.
I literally just explained to you why that is the case.
Okay. Let me put it this way. If I put a magnet, hold on, just hear me out. Okay, without interrupting, let me hear me out. If I put a magnet over metal pieces, the metal pieces are going to attract to the magnet. Okay, now if the magnet is not in an area to pull those metal fragments, but yet they still are attracted to a point without the moon being even in sight.
You didn't listen to what I said, did you?
Oh my God, bro! You're fucking.
I already answered this question. I literally gave the exact answer to the thing you just said.
You're talking about a double tide, bro. Get the fuck out of here.
Yes, there is 2 high tides and 2 low tides on Earth at a time.
You're a liar, bro. You're a liar.
I'm sorry. Wait. Are you denying that there is on Earth 2 high tides and 2 low tides at a time?
We got it.
May I say something quick? Real quick. TFT. Could you please explain the tides and Berry Center?
Could I explain what? Sorry.
The tides and then the Earth Moon Berry Center, because that's the cause of the opposite high tide.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Cool story. So here's the thing. Let's just take one.
The exact reason. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to just read it, but either way. So if we take someplace, are you in front of a computer, Craig? I'm assuming you are, since you're talking on Discord. Can you just look up the tide chart for let's do Miami Beach, Florida, for today?
Just tell me about it.
Sure. Yeah, the low tide was at 6:51 a.m.
Yeah.
There was a high tide just after midnight, right? So close to almost 1 a.m.
So about 6 hours. Yeah, that's about right.
So then, low tide was at 6:51 a.m. Then we had another high tide at 1 p.m.
So about another 6 hours later, right?
Yeah. So let's look at the moon's position, right?
So
we see.
So then another 6 hours there'd be another high tide, right?
Yeah,
which makes sense as 6 times 4
I'm not finished.
is what?
It's not finished. Chill. So let's look at the moon's position, right? So we had the moon starting to rise at 12:43 a.m. roughly, around 12:30 a.m. Right?
Yeah, and where
right around
was
our high
like,
tide.
If you were to look at the Earth-Moon system, rather than looking at the moon from the ground, where would it be at that point?
Yeah, so the moon was at its apex in relation to Miami, Florida, at 5:50 a.m., which would relate to more closely to the low tide that we're experiencing. Why would that be the case? That's the exact opposite of what you were claiming.
Could you show me the actual position of the moon in relation to the Earth?
Well, think about it this way.
Yeah.
In order for the moon to be at its highest position in the sky, in relation to where you're at on the Earth, wouldn't it follow that the moon would be at its closest position to you at that point in time?
Not necessarily, no.
So at moonrise, you would be closer than if the moon is at its apex for the day. Moon set, would that be closer?
Again,
or if you don't see the moon at all?
Look at the position of the moon relative to Earth and where the tides are. Not just
Wouldn't
look
that
at the moon
be
in the sky.
based on your observation from the ground?
No, it doesn't. Space is 3D. And
I
the
love.
positions
Yeah, I
of the
understand
moon
that.
will be able
And
to be. When you look at where the tides
doing
are
good.
compared to where the moon is, it will show that there's a bulge pointing towards the moon. So
okay, so when the moon is at its highest peak in the sky directly above us, it's not its closest point to us in our geographical position on the Earth. Can you give me a demonstration
the Earth is
of how that would not be the case?
The bulges that are being created where you
3D,
reside, the
Craig.
Earth is rotating through this, right? So
think in
if
3D.
you could at the time that you're talking about actually map out the position of the moon and the Earth, then we can have a discussion. That would be the best thing to do, because then we can actually relate it to the real position in real time.
It would be at its closest position to Miami, Florida.
Yeah. Okay.
When
So
it
can
is
you map it out and we can have a look at it properly?
Apex in the sky.
Now, what time is this?
What time would it be for today? Today, that would have been roughly around 5:30 a.m. Miami time.
And the moon was
5:30
where? And
a.m.
that was the low tide or the high tide?
The lowest point of the low tide was at 6:51 a.m. for Miami, Florida.
And where was the moon at that point?
It was closest to its apex.
So, in relation to the Earth, was it pointing towards you or away from you?
You just got schooled, bro.
No, I'm asking questions. I'm waiting for him to answer.
What do you mean? Is there an arrow on the moon that points towards us or away from us? The only way that we know if it's closest to us is based on its position in the sky. Yeah,
you can map out
that would be
where
based
it
off
is and the
observation.
forces involved.
This is your claim, not mine.
I'm gonna have to look at the exact tides that you're talking about and the position of the moon at the time. So today,
I would
right?
suggest you do so. I mean, I've gone back and forth with Globers about this. I don't know if you know who Bacon is, but Bacon and I had a long discussion about this, and he was trying to map out and do some plotting, and he just kind of gave up because he couldn't find any direct correlation to the moon's position.
I mean, there's always a correlation to the moon's
position. If anything,
position.
there's more of a correlation. If anything, there's more of a correlation to the moon's specific phase and your high tides and your
Definitely
low
no
tides.
correlation to the phase of the moon.
Dude, this is a subject you might just want to look a little further into before you
into
speak
quite
on
a lot, and
such.
I'm asking you for the specific positions of the moon and the Earth in relation to each other, so that we can map it out.
This guy is such a fucking liar.
Is that all you've got? Calling me a liar? Is that all you have? Oh, look at the little baby getting triggered again. Look at the little baby getting triggered again because he thinks I'm lying when I'm trying to have a discussion. Oh, look
Do you
at the
see
little
how you
baby.
gave him a nice, easy out and he took it immediately? Noah, please
No,
stop.
I'm still
it.
here waiting. I'm trying to have the discussion. I want to know the exact position of the moon and the Earth relative to each other in 3D space. And I would like that to be presented to me at that particular time, and then we can talk about the forces involved.
In relation to Miami, Florida,
Yeah.
the moon was closest to it when it was at its apex,
Okay, so
which
could you
would have
show me
been
that
around.
in a 3D model, the position of the moon and the Earth relative at that time?
How do you want me to show you that in a 3D model? Can't you just figure that out in your head? It's not a difficult
Do you
concept
have
to
solar
understand.
scope? You could use
Seems
the
like
3D
common
model
sense.
to show it.
I mean,
Because
do I need
what
crayons?
you see with the looking out at where the moon is isn't always going to be its relative position to Earth.
What color should I color the Earth with crayons so I can show you?
I'm waiting for you to. I'm asking what
Napalm
would
is
be
the
the
shit.
relative position.
Good shit, Nava.
Relative to what he already told you, the apex closest to Florida.
Guys,
Are you not paying attention?
Yeah, but that
try to
doesn't
let
mean that the
Napalm
moon
do
is the
it.
closest point. I want this to be mapped out in 3D space so we can actually look at the positions.
FTFE. FTFE. Real quick.
That's not really a real quick interruption. Why do you keep doing that? You take forever with your interruptions, dude. We're so close to making a good point.
I want to make a really good point right now.
Wait,
I want to make a really good point.
Well, I'm still trying to do something with the other guy. So
Can't take over
what time
because
was
I'm
this? Was this
not going to talk to somebody who can't even figure out that when the moon is at its apex, that it's at its closest point to that position.
I'm trying to actually get all the data so that I can answer the question properly. So again, was this today, right? Is this what we're talking about?
Yeah.
March 13th. March 13th, 2023. If you look at a tide chart for Miami Beach. This isn't my specific location, but it's relatively close to me. If you look at Miami Beach's tide charts, and you look at Miami's moonrise and moonset based on time and date, that should give you enough information there.
Mic drop.
And if I was you,
I'm
I
just
would.
looking at all the stuff. Again, I'm not gonna.
I
This
wouldn't
is a
use just
specific
one
observation
specific
that
location either.
I've not heard, so I would have to look into it. Okay, I can't give you a direct
worries.
answer at this very point. I would have to look
It
into the
happened
specifics
today.
behind your claim, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
it happened today, but I would have to look into the
appreciate-
specifics behind the claim and map it all out myself before I can give an exact response. Okay, but there's a
Because it
lot
happens
more.
every day.
Again,
It
there's a
happens
lot
every
more to tides than just the position of the moon, right? So. I'm not going to say, oh, I know the exact answer and I can debunk you right now, because it's something I'm going to have to look into, because I'm an honest person that when I don't know the answer, I actually do that.
Yeah.
Well, I think with this subject, you should look into multiple.
Yeah, I'm going to look
locations
into your
and try to look
specific
at
claim
tide
and
chart
point out that
and
there's no
try
problem.
to figure.
Computer,
So,
studio mode.
just give me a second to speak before you start talking over me. I
Again,
would just
I'm
say
just telling
look
you I'm
at
going to look into
a
it, that's
bunch
all.
of different locations, and then you do it again. Just
Yeah,
look
again,
at a bunch
like
of
I'm
different
telling you,
locations.
I'm going
at
to
the
look
tide
into
chart.
it, which part of that is
Look
not
at
hard
the-
it's hard to understand here.
Hey, Craig. Hold up, real quick. Do you at least accept the fact that some nights?
I think you got him, Napalm. That was pretty good.
No, not really.
Yeah, absolutely. Good job, Napalm. By the way, but real quick.
Yeah, Napalm destroyed him.
Not in the slightest.
that was
Again,
amazing.
me
Take
going,
him out.
I don't know the exact
Craig.
answer is not being destroyed.
Someone else speak. Shut up and
Hey,
let someone else
Craig.
speak. You just got destroyed.
Yeah, hey, Craig.
Again,
real quick.
me saying I don't know
Can
the
you-
exact answer is not being destroyed.
He clearly.
Okay, you've been destroyed. Now
Well,
you can
he
be
Again,
clearly
me saying I
admitted
don't know
there's
the
other
exact
forces aside from the
answer
moon
is
that
not being
demonstrate,
destroyed.
a force,
Is that what you guys
so-
are
No
so
one knows
triggered
the
that you
exact
think I'm
answer.
destroyed because I can't
You
instantly
have
respond
been
to one
destroyed,
thing?
yeah.
Hilarious.
Hey,
We just
Craig.
witnessed it.
Real quick, Craig. Hey, real quick, Craig. Can you at
Yo.
least accept the fact? When I say fact, it's because it's a fact.
I
Can
bet
you
it's not.
can you at least accept the fact that there are nights when the moon is it isn't in the sky, in the night sky above a particular position, left, right, north, south, whatever. The moon is not in the sky. Can you accept that? Yes or no?
Well, yeah, the moon's not there every night.
Okay. So back to my original question.
Dave?
Back to my original question. If your explanation of the tides are being pulled by the moon and it because it's above it, so it's pulling on it. Why do you even stand next to this crazy theory when the moon is not in the sky, but the tides still rise? How
We
can you
literally
explain
went through
that?
that.
Honestly?
We've literally already answered that question. You're asking the question that's already been answered, bud.
What was the answer? I'm sorry. Just run it by me again.
Right. So the gravitational influence of the moon, right, I'll talk about it in 3 phases, all right? So the bit closest to the moon, which would be the water on the side of the Earth close to the moon, has the strongest gravitational pull, so it makes a bulge towards the moon, all right? The next thing that happens, because the Earth is the next closest thing, has the next strongest gravitational influence, it moves the Earth slightly towards that bulge that it's made, which leaves another bulge on the other side, which stretches the water out at either side and then thins the water out at the other sides, which is why you get 2 high tides and 2 low tides. One where the moon is and one where the moon isn't.
So you're saying, okay. Imagine this, okay? Just
the answer. If you don't like it, you can laugh all you want.
Hold on.
That is the answer that mainstream science will also give you.
Hey, bro. Hey, just walk with me, okay? Just walk with me down this path.
I can't walk.
You're
Don't be so
saying
rude.
you're saying that the moon on the other side of the Earth is pulling water up to it. In reality, logically, even in your fake model,
Nothing
if
fake
the
about
water
it.
was being if the water was being pulled up in that section, that means it would be sucking away from water on the other side of the Earth. This is why
It's like you didn't listen to the words that I said.
I laugh at you, bro. I did hear it.
You didn't listen to the words that I said. So the Earth also moves towards the moon, but not quite as much as the bulge on the side that is closest to the moon. And because the Earth has also moved, it leaves a bulge at the other side. And what you get is the water stretched out at the side towards the moon and away from the moon, and the water thinned out at the other parts. 2 high tides, 2 low tides.
Okay. And earlier FTFE, earlier somebody talked about the tidal nodes, right? Where there is no pull on them, absolutely zero pull. They even have measurements and instruments. They have instruments that they calculate that there's no change in their elevation, even being tide, for the tide being up or down.
Again, you're asking the questions that have already been answered, but you're going through the same things now.
No. Oh, you know what? Forgive me, because all you're doing is
answering the questions and then answering them again when they get asked again.
You spew this nonsense. It goes against all logic, bro. Do you understand?
I mean, you can say it goes against all logic because you don't understand logic. That's fine.
Do you realize that you say things that go against logic? Do you at least accept that?
They don't. They go with logic. It's not my fault you don't understand logic.
There's logic against the fact that if you're saying that the moon pulls on tides, yet there's calculated, measured, areas where it's not being pulled.
Yeah, again,
you're saying that makes logic.
We discussed the reason why there's nodes. We've been through that. It's not my fault you didn't listen.
So when the moon is over a particular area, but the measurements on the Earth are not representing a pull on it, you're saying it still represents a pull on it? Do you even
you have to take into account
yourself?
all of the forces involved, all of them, not just the moon,
all the forces,
all of the forces involved. Yes.
Oh my God! Hey, bro, let the audience see how full of shit you are.
Let the audience see, yes, that you don't understand.
You're full of shit, bro. Bottom line.
Brilliant. That's your argument. I'm full of shit when I give you the answer you don't like. Wonderful. Another triggered Flerf.
No, it has nothing to do with what I like. It has. You're going against
you're triggered.
logic.
I understand. Well done.
No, you're going against logic, bro. Come on, wake up. You're going against logic. Bottom line.
I'm going with logic. Just because you don't understand logic doesn't mean I'm going against logic.
If you have a moon going over an area, and we have instruments in the oceans that are not recording a pull according to your logic that the moon is pulling on the water, and we have measured, calculated...
Again, we've been through the reasons why. You must have missed that or you weren't listening.
Oh, so all of a sudden, the moon is not pulling on certain parts that are registered in reality.
Again, we've been through that. Take into account all of the forces involved. All of them.
What are the forces? What are the forces? Please, run it down. Please, run it down.
Why am I having to repeat myself?
Yeah, go ahead. Repeat yourself. What's all the forces? Go ahead. Start with A, B, C, D. Go ahead.
I'll tell you what. If you want to know, why don't you go back on this stream to about an hour and a half ago and just listen, because I already described it.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's pseudoscience, by the way. But go ahead.
Define pseudoscience.
A fake science, you dumbass.
No, that's not what pseudoscience means.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. A false.
So you don't even know what pseudoscience is. Brilliant. Okay. Computer. Go to studio.
Pseudoscience. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what pseudoscience is.
You don't know what it is, so you can't tell me.
I'll tell you what it is. Pseudoscience, by definition, is flat Earth. Fight the flat Earth is talking about science. That's pseudoscience. Bottom line.
Oh, right. Because I'm talking about it is pseudoscience. No, I'm sorry. That's not the definition of pseudoscience.
You are nothing but pseudoscience. Everything you talk about is pseudoscience. Because it's not science at all.
Again, you don't understand science. I do.
Oh, you know science? You know science?
Yes, I do know science.
Right. Yeah, you cannot
That's why I have 2 degrees in scientific fields.
You can't even prescribe. Oh, because you have doctorates. You have.
I don't have a doctorate. I'm not a real person. I have 2 bachelors. One in physics and one in nuclear engineering, energy systems, and technology.
That's beautiful. So you have pieces of paper on the wall that says you understand the lie. Congratulations! You did a great job, and you answered all the questions, and you have A's and B's and A pluses in pseudoscience.
Mostly, yeah. Although you don't have A's in degrees. That was from my A levels. Obviously, you are talking as though you are doing the classic thing of describing education from the view of someone who's never had education.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, because I'm so uneducated, by the way. I'm a fucking retard.
Right. Okay. I've just been doing, whilst you've been babbling, I've just been doing a bit of research.
Right.
Who's the guy I was talking to before? What was his name? Nebula or something?
Napalm. And he schooled you, by the way.
No, not really. Just because I didn't have an answer at that particular time. But I believe he's referring to spring tides. Which is a spring tide when the sun, moon, and Earth are aligned, with the moon and sun pulling in the same direction, creating a greater gravitational force on the Earth's ocean. So it makes sense according to spring tides.
All right. So FTFE, Craig, you're telling all your followers and listeners, hey, trust me, because I have papers on my wall that say
I don't ever ask anyone to trust me. I ask people to check for themselves.
You're like, hey man, trust me, bro.
Again, I never tell people to trust me. I ask them to check for themselves.
Look, I have a BA in bullshit. Congratulations.
I'm sure you do have a BA in bullshit.
That's you. I was literally talking about you. I was literally talking about you.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
Found an answer to Napalm's conundrum.
It wasn't very good.
And it's called spring tides, and that solves the whole problem. Do you think?
Well, no, I haven't said that solves the whole problems, but what I think he's referring to is spring tides, and I'm gonna have to look into a bit more of that as exactly what it is.
Because it destroys your model. I get it.
Well, all I did
no,
was
according to what I'm looking at now, it actually matches the model's predictions. But again, it's something that I am just really looking into. But it does seem to answer your questions.
I just used today as an example because we're having this discussion.
Yeah. Today, it was actually described as a spring tide, which is what they're talking about.
No.
Yeah. So today in Miami would be the first spring tide of the year, and a spring tide occurs when the sun, moon, and Earth are aligned with the moon and sun, pulling in the same direction, creating a greater gravitational force on the Earth's oceans. So, and it says that the moon will be at the apex when there is a low tide due to the position of the moon in alignment with the sun.
It's not a full moon or a new moon right now. I live
right.
Phases are nothing to do with it. So,
how are they aligned when moonset was just before noon?
The position of the moon and the sun would have been aligned. That's the point. That's when you get a spring tide. I need to quickly nip to the toilet. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay.
So
we're gonna apply a strategy.
So a spring tide would, I mean, the equivalency of that would take place quite often, not just in spring.
Right.
Where the sun is at its apex when the moon is setting. Like that doesn't just happen in the springtime.
So this is the question I have for him is where, because he's busy, but he still hasn't addressed it. Where does he get the scientific backing to say that the moon's responsible for anything that the water does? Because surely, if you're going to claim a cause, you should be able to prove it.
Yeah, they Googled that. But he came up with this other claim that if you add up all because literally, if you look at it, it doesn't match any singular direction for the moon, for the path, for anything, for the pole. And he's like, well, if you add up all the different vectors, then it will probably, I think he deduced that it must point to the moon, because no one's ever said that it does, because it actually doesn't, as Napalm was quick to point out with real-world observations and real-world data. So I think that was pretty well done. Thanks, Steve.
Absolutely, bro. Here's the funny part. Here's the funny thing. He is trying to invoke this pseudoscience of the moon is pulling on anything. Has any power in itself. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I really needed a pee, so I had to get away there. Pardon me.
Wow, too much information, bro. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Right. So here's the thing about tides that we really need to understand is that there's a lot more to tides than just the position of the moon. You know, a lot more. And that's why I keep bringing up the point that there's more than one force involved, right? We have to take into account everything that's happening. We have to take into account the gravitational influence of the moon, the gravitational influence of the sun, the Coriolis forces created because the Earth is rotating, the hydrodynamic, effects from the fact that there is topology and the water is moving against rock. We have to take into account the differences in temperature, the wind that's affecting the tide. There are so many things that affect the tides other than just the moon. Okay.
When Glover says that gravity causes,
Yeah, when you guys claim that gravity is causing this, thanks for admitting that there's a lot of other things. It's not gravity. So Glovers can.
No, gravity is one of the
aside,
things.
right?
Again, like I've just said, you have to take into account all of the forces involved.
Hey, Craig, real quick.
It's never real quick, but go ahead.
Craig, what if it wasn't the moon at all? What if it was just the fact that the water is like a living, breathing in and out, swelling? What if it was just that?
Please stop.
Whoa, hold on. Wait.
Why do you always do that?
Wait, hold on. Hey, bro, listen. I'm being honest here.
You're being honest by asking me what if the water is alive?
It is alive, by the way, but I'm just saying.
Water is not alive.
You, as a scientific person, should be open to ideas, man.
Exactly. Hold on. What if it wasn't the moon?
I'm sorry, but no scientific idea would take into account water being alive.
Hear me out. What if it wasn't the moon pulling on it, but the water has a natural state of breathing in and out, swelling up and down?
Water doesn't breathe.
What?
Water doesn't breathe.
What are you talking about, Apocryphon? This is not a good argument for FTFE. You gotta know your audience, man. I hear what you're talking about, but I don't know why you're going into him.
Hold on. I'm not. Come on, brother. I'm not saying.
Hold on. Like all the fucking time. It's really annoying.
Wait up.
Okay, listen. Water
that's much
comes
better.
in.
Thank you.
Hold up. Water comes in and comes out. It goes in and goes out. Have you ever seen? Hold on. Hold on. Let me tell you something. Have you ever seen a water pump in a pool? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. When that water
the ocean
pump
doesn't have a water pump.
But what if it does? What if there's a super fucking water pump that's creating?
Shane, this guy is not looking good,
This
making
is-
the flat earthers look good. You
This
realize
is
that?
ruining the argument we had going. I agree. Yeah.
So which one was dumber today? The eye thing or the water thing?
Someone's gonna get muted.
Oh, there's quite a lot. I mean, I was told today that you don't see out your left eye and you project out of your right eye, and that
Yeah, I
water
don't know what was
is
going
alive
on with
and
us
breathing.
today.
That's
You
fantastic.
successfully triggered like all my friends, and I'm kind of upset.
I did a good job there.
They're better friends.
Everyone was pissed.
I'm waiting for the scientific
triggered. I was just calling him out for his lies as he
I've
vehemently
made a single lie.
He kicked and screamed and tantrumed like he's trying to do right now.
That's never happened, not once. You may realize
Yeah,
it
no,
was
that
the other way around.
happened the whole-
I mean, like, I try to tell people not to get triggered, and they get triggered harder.
I know.
Like, if he could trigger you, he will, and guess what? He'll immediately stop arguing whatever you're trying to argue with him to trigger you some more, and everything gets lost. Like, it's so easy to get distracted. He just pushes it, and everyone kind of lets it happen. It's frustrating. I get it. Believe me.
Yeah, dishonest debate tactics. Got it. Yeah. As always.
Guy, right. You may realize, if you look at my channel, when I say debate, I put it in quotation marks.
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think your friend here should also realize that that's the case.
Should be obvious.
This isn't a debate. There is no debate about the shape of the Earth. The Earth is categorically a globe. This is me here
That's why you have
pointing
to
and
be
laughing at
honest
stupid
back.
people.
Yeah, we understand. We understand you can't debate. We
No,
knew
no,
when you
I
started
can
lying
debate,
about
but there is no debate about the shape of the Earth.
30 minutes ago, when you started lying about
agree.
shit. We knew
Definitely,
you
it's
couldn't
100% a globe.
No, we agree. There's no
literally
debate.
is no
It's
debate.
great.
There's just people that don't understand basic science and physics. That's all it is.
We agree. There is no debate. There are people that don't understand. Absolutely agree.
Yeah, they're called flat earthers in general. Yeah. Right.
So do you
half
have,
past
do you
2 in
have
the
a
morning for me.
scientific citation for all the claimed forces you say are involved in the tides?
You would like a scientific citation of what? Sorry.
For all the claimed forces for the tides that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, sure. I can look into getting some citations. What particular would you like?
Specifically scientific citations for the gravitational effect of the moon and the sun and those things that you mentioned.
Okay, there's literally hundreds of thousands of those.
Yeah, I think it would be, the question would be, can you provide a citation that doesn't reference
the influence of the sun and the moon to produce tides.
Yeah, I specifically said scientific citation. So an
Yeah, I can give
experiment
you hundreds of
that-
thousands of scientific citations about the sun and the moon being influence of tides.
Yeah, and
Can you
the
provide me with a
experiments
single
that are being
scientific
conducted?
citation that says anything other than that?
That's not how that works, is it?
Well, no, I can provide you with those, and I will. But do you have any scientific citations that it's
By what
anything other than the sun and the
methodology?
moon?
By what methodology were they done?
Probably the scientific method.
Okay, and how would one go about doing that?
I have to look at the papers.
Okay then. Oh wait.
But could you, whilst I am getting those scientific citations, could you also, in the same vein, please get me the scientific citations that show that, you know, their tides are not affected by the sun and the moon at all? Because if I'm getting scientific citations for my claims, I would love some scientific citations for your claims. It's only fair, right?
Am I obliged?
I'm getting it for you, so I would like you to get it for me. That's only fair, right?
I didn't make any claim.
You claimed that it's not the sun and the moon.
No, I simply asked you for citation.
Yeah, and have you got citations that suggest it's anything other? Because I have thousands of citations to back me up.
Am I obliged?
Yes, you are obliged.
By whose authority?
Mine. The flying spaghetti
Okay, well,
monster.
your authority doesn't stand. So
Yes, it
when
does.
you provide
I am in
citations,
charge.
we'll scrutinize. When you provide citations, we'll scrutinize them.
Yeah,
until
okay, and
then
I would also like your
continue.
citations that the tides are nothing to do with the sun and the moon. That's cool.
but
We will
again,
swap
I'm not
citations and we will
obliged-
look
I'm
at them
not
together.
obliged.
How about that?
I'm not the one who's made the claim. I'm
You
holding
made the
your
claim that
to
it's not the sun
scrutiny.
and the moon.
Did
So
you make the
I would
claim,
like
yes
your
or no?
scientific citations for that claim. And once,
FTFE.
and what we can do is we can reconvene next week and we can both give each other scientific citations about our claims regarding the tides. How about that? Sound good?
I'm in.
The people lying about the globe own science. We can't give
Oh, of
you
course,
citations.
everything's a lie. It's got to be, hasn't it?
No, it's a
I had a
Freemason
question
lie. That's well known.
Yeah,
No,
go
it's
ahead, Nick.
nothing to do with Freemasons. Don't be silly.
Let's let you go.
Yes, it is. It's everything to do with them.
Of course it is. Everything's to do with Freemasons. Dude, you know you can join the Freemasons online?
All of NASA.
No, not all of
Nick,
NASA
go
are
ahead, Nick.
Freemasons
I'm
at all. That is a
sorry.
stupid claim.
Like, so hard.
Aside from Freemasons and stuff, so would it be possible that the sun and the moon could influence the tides regardless of the shape? So either model, and I know that there's no
As long as gravity's
overall
real, yes. If
proposed
gravity's
FE
real, then
model.
there will be an influence on the
So-
tides regardless of the shape of the Earth.
Right, and gravity being, something that is
Measurable and testable.
not necessarily properly or scientifically proven as of yet. It's a force that's not a
absolutely
force,
100%
but is a
is.
force. Is it a force?
By what
It creates a
methodology?
force.
Excuse me?
Gravity creates a force.
Gravity creates a force.
Yes.
How
So gravity isn't a force, it's what creates a force?
Yes, gravity creates the gravitational force. Yes, that's correct.
So what creates gravity? What is gravity
A
if it's
warping
not
of
a
space-time.
force?
Oh dear.
So gravity is a warping of space-time. So
Yes.
wouldn't it be more simple to say that the bending and warping of space-time is what causes the forces that we see?
Well, we call that gravity, so we just say gravity instead of all the other stuff.
So what is this space-time that you speak of?
The fabric of the universe. The three
Fabric,
dimensions
so
of
it's
space and the
tangible?
one dimension of time.
But that's just a theory. It's a concept.
It's definitely not
Oh,
a theory.
hold on.
I don't know who told you that.
What?
So
that gravity's
it's
warping of
multiple
space of
things,
time?
right? So
Gravity, the warping of space and time is
go ahead,
gravity.
bud. Whoever's interrupting, go ahead. You've got it.
No, they've been interrupting the whole time. He's called himself the Peanut Gallery. He literally just shouts in comments at the most interruptive time. Sorry, dude. Someone keeps on muting him. I've had him muted like 4 times. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so time. What is time, Craig?
Time is the second law of thermodynamics. It's the passing of entropy. It's the increase of entropy in the universe. It is the arrow of time, the direction in which everything happens.
Is time
it's a
physical?
physical thing that can be manipulated via speed.
Wait, what?
So time is physical, is what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
What is it comprised of? What is its physical makeup?
That's not how it works. Time is just a thing that exists.
Time is just a thing that exists.
It's conceptual.
It's not conceptual. It's a physical thing that we can manipulate.
It has a physical makeup, meaning it should have some sort of physical.
We can manipulate the passing of time by changing the speed that something is going.
That's just a measure,
time is a
right?
physical thing.
But that's false, though.
It's not false. It's absolutely true.
I don't need your help, bud. So that's just a measure, right?
Yeah.
If
So
time had physicality,
time is the
you would be able to
passing of stuff. The arrow of time. The second law of thermodynamics. It's the
passing of stuff. So
so the how long a photon of light takes to go from point A to point B. You know, time is the passing of how things happen, and that duration and that speed of how things pass can be manipulated because it's a physical thing.
No, it's a measurement.
But we can change the measurement, so it's a physical thing.
Can I please jump in here? Because I love time.
You can change the measurement. How can you change the measurement of time?
By changing the speed that something is going, and time passes at a different rate.
Okay, so seconds and minutes can change. They're manipulable.
Absolutely, yeah. You have something going at different speed relative to you, time will pass differently for that thing.
No, that's false.
Hold on a second.
No, it's absolutely true, and it's how GPS works.
I'll just disengage if the room wants to go ahead and...
No, don't disengage. Just speak a bit louder and don't let whoever's interrupting.
No, no one can jump in. I'm going to mute anyone else who jumps in. Go ahead.
I've only got about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to start shutting down. But yeah, we can manipulate the passing of time. We can change how fast a second lasts.
No.
Yes, it can.
Incorrect. Time is a measure.
No, it's absolutely not incorrect.
If anything
you change the speed that you're going, it changes the amount of time.
Seconds, then it wouldn't be a second. Right? So if we have time as a standard and we want to utilize a standard of time, that cannot be manipulated. It's a measurement.
Absolutely can be manipulated.
Furthermore,
and time passes differently for different things that are traveling at different speeds. This is the known phenomenon.
So if you want to talk about space, what do you define space as?
Are we changing the subject now?
This is space-time.
No, the 3 dimensions of space. X, Y, and Z.
X, Y, and Z?
Z.
3 dimensions of what?
Of existence. This way, and that way. We live in a 3-dimensional world.
Can I jump in with a quick question, please?
No.
So 3 dimensions.
Yes. 3 dimensions of space, X, Y, and Z.
Space.
Yes.
So you're talking the 4th dimension is the 3 dimensions?
The 4th dimension is time.
That?
Time is
so
the
4th dimension is time.
Correct. Well done.
So the 4th dimension is time. Time is a measure. And then the bending and warping of
space and
time and space.
Yes.
So space is not so is space something physical as well?
Space can be contracted and manipulated.
Is space something physical as well?
It's something that can be physically affected, yes.
How so? So if I have
by lots of other things.
If I have a
space and time can be changed and warped by gravity. Well, gravity as well.
By the things that are contained within it. So a space can only be defined by physical things that are.
I mean, you're getting very philosophical here. So the 3 dimensions of space and the 1 dimension of time. It's a very simple thing to understand.
By specific directions, it can only be defined by the physical things inside that are.
The 3 dimensions of space are X, Y, and Z. This is just a thing. I don't care if you don't understand it.
It's not that I don't understand it.
It clearly is that you don't understand it.
No.
Yeah, otherwise you wouldn't be talking about the things that you're talking about. You do not understand the basis of what space-time is.
The thing that you don't understand is that things that are not physical cannot physically.
Time is physical because it can be manipulated. Therefore, it's physical.
You want to take time, which is nothing more of a measure.
It's a physical thing that can be manipulated,
which can only be defined by physical things that are held within it. Not
incorrect. There is the 3 dimensions up, X, Y, and Z.
You
can keep saying wrong things all you want. It doesn't change the fact. You are just saying wrong things over and over. Time is something that can be manipulated. It can be changed. It is a physical thing that can be manipulated by us.
Nope.
You can say no all you like. It's a fact.
No, it's not.
It is. Again, you can say no, it's not what you want, but that is just the Nile is also a river in Egypt. Time is something that can be manipulated. We know that time can be manipulated thanks to things like GPS, thanks to things like the Hadron Collider, thanks to simple things like neutrino experiments.
Nope. It's not what takes place.
Brilliant rebuttal. Nope. Well done. Well, Shane, there we go. I have been debunked by the word nope. I guess I better leave for today then. That's fantastic. I've now been going for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Good, dude. But you debunked me. We're done. You said nope. You've won the argument by saying nope. You can stop talking now.
Are you just conceding defeat because you won't let him speak? Or
He's won the argument, Shane, by saying nope at me. So
all he's trying to do is talk over me.
So Shane, anyway, the guys won the argument by saying no. Can we stop now? Thank you. Yeah, the guys won the argument by saying nope. That's wonderful. I guess I've been debunked by the word nope.
That's all you're trying to do. You don't want to.
I'm trying to finish so that I can go to bed. So you want to stop talking now? That's wonderful.
I can continue
this whole thing is done.
But the fact is that
Shane, I'm literally trying to leave.
You want to say is being manipulated.
You're the one who's talking over.
I'm trying to finish the conversation so that I can go. Like I said, I was going to 15 minutes ago.
All right. But what's actually taking place?
Shane, can you just mute him because I want to finish up now? Thanks.
Wait, why don't you just get the fuck out of here?
I will once I've finished and said what I want to say. Shane, thank you once again for allowing me to come. Do you want to? Good boy, well done. Shane, thank you once again for allowing me to come in and speak to the low IQ side of the world. I do appreciate it.
This was a fucking rough one.
It was, and I actually needed this today with the shit that's been going on in my life. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Everyone else here,
Shane's a globe now.
Please learn some basic physics, and it might make these conversations a bit more bearable. Have a nice day. Computer, go to studio mode. He debunked me with the word nope, guys. Nope. 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 That's it. You're wrong. What a fun dumpster fire that was. Yes, Shane, I needed this. Well, that was a lot of fun, as normal. The derp is strong. Denying that time is manipulable is something we can manipulate. It is just stupid when so much of our technology is literally based on that fact. Yeah, I'm actually going to change that to I'm changing the title to Flat Earther Debunks Me. Flat Earther debunks me by saying nope over and over. Oh, what fun. So, like normal, guys, this was an absolute dumpster fire because, talking to flat earthers is a pointless exercise. But I do it because I love you. Oh, Alan, I maybe did let some off there. There's so many people shouting at you, you just don't know. So, right, I know I've not been, I've been away for a week, dealing with some things, struggling to put out content, and there is a few reasons. I am, computer, go to studio mode. I'm going through some serious mental health stuff at the moment. I'm struggling to deal with my chronic pain all of the time. It's soul destroying. But I'm currently very, very upset because my dad's really ill. He's got blood cancer. And it doesn't look great. And I'm finding it a bit hard to deal with. It's making me struggle to do anything. think, to cope, to to focus. I don't have any emotional strength, anything left over at the moment. And I hope you guys understand that I'm really struggling to get the content done. I'm also dealing with my I've got my court case to do with my neighbor. Sentencing is on March the 22nd, and it does look like I'm going to get punished for what happened. I can't really talk about exactly what it is until the sentencing is done, but there will be a full explanation of what's happening and why I had to go to court for what happened. On top of all that, I'm dealing with going through the process of having my leg amputated because there is no way to fix my knee. It's past the point where they can do more surgery to try and fix it. Computer, go to studio mode. And because the amount of pain that I'm in all of the time and the way it's affecting my life, the only way to deal with what's going forward is to have my leg amputated. And it was being dealt with before COVID, and then COVID happened, and then things got left by the wayside, and so I've had to deal with the pain longer, and there's been other things happened that have made the pain worse. So I've struggled lately, and the fact that you guys have been here to support me the way that you have, it makes everything a little bit better. I'm really struggling at the moment to do content, to make videos, to focus and to think, and I'm sorry. I'll get through it, but this is I'm struggling right now, okay? And I just want you guys to know that I'm not disappearing. I'm just taking a bit of time to deal with myself. I don't know how to process what's happening with my dad. I don't know how to mentally deal with it. Yeah, I'm not a strong person, as strong as I feel like I need to be, and with what's happening, I've struggled to just be me and do what I need to do. But I just want to let you guys know that I'm not going anywhere. This I will get through this. It's going to be hard, and it might take me a while to cope with what's going on. But I will get through it, and you guys are helping me. But I want you to know that I'm sorry that I haven't put out as much content and stuff as I normally do. I just really am struggling to mentally process everything that's happening. Okay. Computer, go to studio mode. Computer, go to studio mode. Right, that's enough of me whining. I just want you guys to know why. But I'll get through it. And thank you for the support, and it will help me. You know more than you ever know. Oh. So, not that Luke Perry. He's been a member for 4 months. Says, FTFE, how dare you ask for evidence? You know where you are. Yeah, in a Discord server full of Flerfs. Oh, it's always the same, right? Plastic Citizen, new member. Thank you very much. Welcome. That's awesome. And we've got Mr. Blockton, who's been a member for 14 months, and says, Flerf, you must personally verify something to prove it. Also, Flerfs, okay, we haven't personally verified an incentive, a wall or a dome, but just believe us, all right? Yeah, that's how it happens. I see your kind comments in the chats, guys. I do, and I really appreciate it. Sorry to lump this on you, but you guys are a big part of my life, right? A massive, massive part of my life, and I owe you an explanation. You know, you support me, and I'll get through it. And don't worry, there's gonna, you know, in the next week or so, there will be some Flerfs of idiots and stuff. It's all coming. I just need to knock myself out of this slump that I'm in because of what's happened. All right. Tesla Bits and Radio is also a new member. Thank you very much. Welcome to Scrappers. Sarah Jones, £4, says we just need Bob to take his ring gyro to the North Pole. Yeah. So if you put an axle on the Earth, couldn't you measure it with a speedometer? Fuck's sake, guys, come on. Sarah Jones, £2, says strangely, I'm left eye. I'm sure I see best of it. What was that guy on about? You don't see out of your right eye? You only see out of your left. What the fuck, man? Yes, Carl, you're all family. Philip Hardward, and Philip, this is the first super chat you've sent, so I want to say thank you, because that makes me feel good that I popped your super chat cherry. Thank you very much, Philip Hardward. For $5 Australian, he says, well, we heard it here, folks. Cars don't move, and we can't see out of our left eyes. Oh my god, yeah. Cars don't... No, cars move, but we don't move if we're in them. Turing Test 2 for £10 says, FTFE, ask the Flerf for his alternative explanation of why Earth's magnetic field exists. If he doesn't have one, then he should shut up and go home. Yeah, Flerfs in general should shut up and go home. Computer, go to studio mode. NA. Gifted 5 memberships. So if you became a member today and you didn't buy a membership, please say thank you to NA. Stringer News 1, one of the biggest supporters of this channel. You know, my love to you. For $2 says, bring me a piece of the dome. I've got one outside. I'll grab it for you later. NA for $6.66. Hail Sagan. AI will destroy us. Well, I've asked ChatGPT very nicely to not destroy me, and it said it'd try and remember. Try and remember. RachBot, my favourite AI, for $10 Australian, says, all hail his awesomeness. FTFE, may all stupidity crumble before thee. Yes. That's my new tactic, right? Whenever someone starts bringing up God, and I don't mean this as an offensive thing, but whenever anyone's bringing up God in relation to the shape of the earth and say, oh, well, it was a creator, my creator made it, I'm going to bring up the flying spaghetti monster. Because there's just as much evidence for the flying spaghetti monster being the creator of the universe as there is for God. The only thing is, my God is better than your God. Because my God created the universe in 4 days whilst drinking heavily. And my God's chosen people are pirates. Therefore, my God is better than your God. C3P Hole became a new member. Thank you very much. And so did Pronoun1990. Oh no, he's been a member for 12 months. Thank you very much. Lord Illuminous Pooh for $5 says, anyone with half a brain would understand it. Evidence, not proof. You have quarter Rubik. Here's the thing. He's going, anyone with half a brain. He was talking about himself. Computer, go to studio mode. Dr. Acid Punch Drunk for £2 says, I'm wearing my Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe shirt. Okay, cool story. Lord Illuminous Pooh for $2 says, calendar, explain that, Flerfs. They can't explain anything, especially why words sound similar. Siggy Sigweld, one of the greatest supporters of this channel recently, for $5 says, looks like I got here on time to see FTFE get salty with a bunch of assholes. Always. Mr. Loney, member for 3 months, says, Flerfs have words but no points. Entertaining. Absolutely. Lord Illuminous Pooh for $5 there. Confusing the tide, the rise and fall of the sea, and tidal currents, the heat, the location, and earth spin. Yeah. I don't think his claim about the position of the moon is right. I'm going to have to look into that specifically. I think he's talking about spring tides. Frog Repair Shipakashi, member for 22 months, says, Flerfs truly are simple creatures. Yes, that's right, they are. To them, the idea of multiple factors influence something is unacceptable. By venti, Flerfs are thick as fuck. Yes, they are. PhD Tony, The only real man in the room for $5 Australian says, FTFE, ask your friends how come we observe tidal effects in gravimeters. They wouldn't understand what that meant, Tony. Devil's Hideout for £10 says, I'm a civil rail engineer, and I thought, like a flat earther, I'd be making extremely expensive mistakes on projects that take into account everything they refuse is reality. It's just baffling. Yeah, you're right, Devil's Hideout. And Devil's Hideout, this is also the first super chat that you have sent to me. So thank you very much. I am extremely honoured to take your super chat, Cherry. Thank you. PhD Tony, again, the only real man in the room for $5 Australian. The exact timing of tides depends on friction and hydrodynamic effects, especially in regions with shallow bathymetry. And it's not just gravitation. That's what I was trying to say to them, that there's more than just the gravity involved. There's all of the things you have to take into account. The shape of the ground is one of the biggest influences on the tides. You know, the shape of the floor underneath the ocean. That's one of the biggest things that influence the tides. You know, it's not just the sun and the moon. Yes, they do influence the tides, and the overall direction of the tides is mainly influenced by the moon, and the position of the moon relative to the Earth. But there's other things. There's more than one force involved. William Foley. Oh no, wait, whoa. Oh, guys. Stringer News 1 for $2 says, don't forget the gravitational influence of Uranus. My Uranus has a great gravitational influence. Albeit for $550 Canadian dollars says, how do we expect Flerfs to understand and listen to reason and logic when all they believe is different crap and can't respect each other? I know, right? Oh no, it's Andy for £2 says, my water breathed while I projected from my eye whilst you were in a car and not moving. Stringer News 1 for $5, time passes and you can pass gas, therefore time needs to get out. Rick Sanchez, member for 25 months, just says nope, because nope debunked me, guys. Nope. Nope, you're wrong. It's false. Brilliant. Well done. Captain Red Bull for $5 says, water is alive and touches me inappropriately every time I go swimming. I never want to go swimming again now. Holy Smalls, member for 28 months, says, bro to bro, I love you, man. And I love all of you. Like, yeah, I'm struggling with my mental health and stuff, but you people make it better. Computer, go to studio mode. Sorry, I'd normally press a button, but it's not working. You people make everything better. You guys watching my streams, you make my mental health not quite as bad. And the love that you show me, it's insane. Carl Energer Christensen for $50 Donkey Kong dollars, thank you very much, says, a sign of insanity is repeating the same question over and over and expecting a different answer. I know. I will answer their questions over and over, and they keep just asking the same thing. It's insane. Computer, go to studio mode. Oh, wow. Lord, it's probing time 666. You didn't need to do that. $100. Honestly, it's. I know this won't help with your other problems. I just hope it helps in little other ways, Craig. Your support is insane. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Honestly, thank you. Albias for $550 Canadian says, only do what you want to, Craig. We ain't going anywhere. We genuinely love you. Whatever you need, we're all here for you and your family. Hugs. Stop it. You're going to make me fucking cry again. Please don't. Oh no, it's Andy. Became a new member. Welcome to Scrappers. Thank you very much. There's another 10 new members today. Turing Test 2 for £10 says, you don't owe anybody anything, dude. All the hugs. I do owe you guys content. I do. You support me. You deserve to get the content from me, and it is coming. All right. Over the next week, there will be things like Flerfs are Idiots episodes. Because you guys deserve it. Foga Pership Akashi for $2 says, health and family is more important to us. You are my family, guys. William Foley, $5. No apologies ever. Take care of yourself and your family first. Us internet idiots will wait for your return. I appreciate it. I'm not going anywhere. Bandit, $10 Canadian, no message. Thank you very much. Stanley Cromance for $10 says, we love you, Craig. No, I fucking love you. Pat in the chat for $5. Computer, go to studio mode. How does one get to a destination in the car without moving? Craig, we love you. We're with you every step of the way. Computer, go to studio mode. Mary Ann the Night Owl became another new member. Thank you very much. Helmdom for $10 says, Craig, I feel you. Please give this song a listen. High Ren by an artist named Ren. It will help. It helped me. I will. Thank you very much. Earth is Life has been a member for 17 months. Says, thoughts and prayers go out to you and your family. I thank you very much. Tells a bit in radio for $6.66 says, shame all that science, measurements and logic can come undone with Nope. I know, guys. I was debunked by Nope. Frog Perisher Pakashi, $5 says, according to Neon, it can't be spring tides because according to Neon, there's only happening in spring. Neon discussed it while you were doing a Riley. No. No. Glober Mum, who tomorrow you will see a release of a new episode of Debate Shorts from, says, spend as much time as you can with your dad. Maybe record some of his stories, family history. I know from experience how parents are missed. My dad is the most amazing guy. And he doesn't deserve what's happening to him right now. And my mum is looking after him so well. I've got so much respect for what my mum's dealing with right now. 'Cause, my mum's also got some health problems. She's had like some gut things going on for a long time, which affected her really badly. She also has to look after my little sister. My little sister Kirsty was actually the youngest person in Europe to ever be diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And she lives with my parents. And she needs a lot of help all the time. You know, well, not you know, on her bad days, because multiple sclerosis, you know, one day you're having a good day, one day you're not. And, you know, right now, Mum is basically looking after her and Dad whilst not being well herself, and I wish I could be there more. And it hurts me that I'm not. Holy Smalls for $5 says, if people can't get that something can have more than one force acting on it, have them explain a tug of war. No, they can't ever explain anything. Anthony Fox, and this is the first super chat from you, Anthony. Thank you very much for letting me have your super chat cherry. $2 says, show on the doll where the globe touched you, Shane. Mallory's Asylum, the only real flat earther to beat me in debate by showing me furry foot fetish porn. Bad Mallory. Says, let's make Craig cry. No, stop it. Don't make me cry. And Eric499 says, I can't always give much, but I say you take all the time you need. I'll always be here. The rest of us will be here too. Well, thank you, guys. Computer, go to studio mode. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for the support. You will never know how much it means. I'll be back tomorrow. I've got a stream with Toon. We're going to talk about top left. My apologies to Toon because my issues have kind of delayed what we've been doing with top left. So Toon, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry. I know things are taking longer because of the things that I've been going with, but don't worry. Tomorrow, top left stuff with Toon. New episode of Debate Shorts. And then later this week, there will be a new episode of Flerfs Are Idiots for your enjoyment. Oh yeah, on Wednesday, I'm also debating someone, a stay-at-home mum who's teaching her kids the earth is flat. I know, it's terrible. Holy Smalls, $5. Craig, I owe you everything. I ran into flat earth, and then you saved me from being a conspiratard. Ask for anything, I owe you. You don't owe me anything. No, none of you owe me anything. I owe you everything. I owe you the world for letting me have the best job that I could ever have. Stringer News 1 says, computer, go to studio mode. She didn't listen. I owe you guys everything because your support has made me what I am. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for the support you give me. Captain Red Bull just became another new member. Welcome to Fighters. And just because, please enjoy a terrible rap song.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
Good morning. These words come with a storm
Thank you,
warning.
Jack Levers, for your
Batten down
first
the
super
hatches,
chat.
grab some matches, and brace
199,
yourself
go to bed, Craig.
for a long
I
day
will
of
do.
misery. YouTube has given me the power to reach up into the sky and show you all that we live on the ball. I bring you science that's comprehensible. Your view is indefensible. You're reprehensible. Go on, Mr. Sensible. When I was young, I never thought I would be here to see this. A pile of random nonsense dressed up as bullshit. Your ignorance will be the death of us all, like running head first, full speed into a wall. You could always read a book, buy a telescope, set it up and take a photo of the moon, or just be a buffoon. I send you in a balloon up to the stratosphere on page 3.
You're a few fries short of a happy meal. You're dumber than a box of hair. The wheel's spinning but the hamster's dead, and you're as smart as bait. You forgot to pay your brain bill. You're missing a few buttons on the remote control. 24 cents short of a quarter. You're surfing in Nebraska. You're as bright as Alaska in December, and you fell out of your family tree. You don't have all the cornflakes in one box. You got an IQ of 2 and it takes 3 to grunt. The elevator doesn't go all the way up, and there's a vacancy on the top floor. Your antenna doesn't pick up all the channels. You're several nuts short of a
You're Mr.
fruitcake.
Sensible, calm down, don't go too hard. You don't need the hard to burying Flerfs in your backyard. You're a man of science, poise and grace. Mage 2 did everything to wipe the grins off the face. So Nathan, get away from those kids. The world is not flat and it doesn't have a lid. Recognize the differences between the textbook and the Bible and control yourself. Lay off your slander and your lies. You're a bunch of knobs poisoning the well of the youth, spreading lies that you like to claim as knowledge and truth. Stop spreading fresh bullshit like the butter on your bread. Maybe a musical assault and knock some sense into your head. I hope one day you'll hear these lyrics and smile, and you realize you used to be a 40-year-old child. Now it's time to wake up, open your eyes and see, and acknowledge the existence of.
You're a few clowns short of a circus. Your phone is off the hook. Your sewing machine is out of thread. You're all foam and no beer. You don't have all your dogs on one leash. An intellect rivaled only by garden tools. There's no grain in your silo, and your skylight leaks a little. Your belt doesn't go through all the loops. You couldn't pour water out of a boot without instructions on the heel. Your slinky's kinked, and you're proof that evolution can work in reverse. A few feathers short of a whole duck, one fruit loop short of a full bowl.
Airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars. Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now. Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars? Should be wishing for a brain right now, brain right now, brain right now.
You thought it was over? Well, I'm still standing while you swing and fling and feces, talking shit just like the human centipede. You got the mind of a chimp, and I'm here to expedite your shore leave. Cause I'm a seaman, but not the kind that rinse up on your mom's gums. I'm the kind that sailed submarines and fired guns. I could float a boat across the ocean with my eyes closed, circumnavigate the globe with a compass and a bag of sausage rolls. Well, all you can do is nibble on your toes. I'll smack you with the hose that you call a water level, sit and swivel. You nasal gazing muppet, you can stuff it harder than the wallet stuffed by Warren Buffett. And I don't care about your sauces unless you're serving them. And I don't care about your lines unless you're curving them. Now step away from me, you're sucking up my oxygen with the vacuum where your brain should be, you dumb fuck. Good night, everyone. Thank you for everything. I will see you soon, and remember that stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat. Fight the flat.